Welcome back to the Late for Loadin podcast. I'm Chris, and I'm here with my co-host Josh. And on this week's episode, we have Ollie Baxter of the band Broadside. And whoa, what a roller coaster of an episode this one was.
Seriously, one of my, I don't pick favorites, but he's one of my all-time favorite people.
And you know what? I didn't know him at all before this episode. You suggested him. You said he's had a really cool story. And I was like, well, sure, I'll fucking talk to anybody, really. And by the end of this recording of this episode, he may have become one of my favorite people ever, too.
Man.
And just the, and this, I think, I don't remember exactly how it's going to work out in the edit, but this might be Andrew from the Ghost Side previously was our longest episode. I think Ollie might actually beat him only because he's got such a cool story. It's like we couldn't not hear what he had to say. His journey has been so wild, and he's overcome and persevered through so much shit, and somehow still just has like the most
infinite energy.
Yes, so much energy, and so he's just like there's so much light that he brings to the conversation. He's always upbeat about everything. I don't know how he does it, but it's fucking awesome, and I love him.
I can't wait for everybody to hear this one. And I also can't wait. I know that we're a little bit early on talking about this, but we've aired Andrew's episode. There's going to be one more special one that I'm not going to say the name of, and then Ollie getting the three of them in a room together is going to be
Chaos.
Chaos, comedy, and fucking, I don't even know the last word.
You know what that episode's going to be for us? That episode's going to be like fucking spring break for us, because we're going to get all three of those guys in this Riverside call, hit record, and then go, all right, guys, you got it from here, and then just step away.
Yeah.
Because that's all it's going to be.
Sit back and laugh our asses off.
Yeah. So I'm excited. But yeah, Ollie is just like, what a talented, creative dude in more ways than just being a musical artist. He talks a bit about writing books and how it started with poetry. And, I don't want to give too much away because the stories that he tells are super. I mean, just being fully transparent, there was at least 2 points that I can remember in recording this episode that he literally almost had me in tears telling me about.
I feel like I was in the same boat.
It was tough. But his outlook on life in general is just super inspiring in spite of all of the things that he's experienced in his life. And I just think it's a super powerful episode. If you don't know who Ollie is, I still highly suggest listening to this episode. It'll probably be even more impactful for you. And you'll probably be much like me, where by the end of the episode, I was just the biggest Ollie fan, and I just want the guy to win because you
want him to win.
Just such a fucking lovable, awesome dude.
He's a special dude. He's got some great new music coming out. It's all excellent human being.
Totally. And on that note, I hope you enjoy this week's episode with Ollie Baxter of Broadside. This episode of Late for Loadin is brought to you by Rockabilia.com, your go-to destination for 100% official band merchandise. No bootlegs, no cheap knockoffs, just authentic gear straight from the bands you love. From metal and punk to classic rock and beyond, Rockabilia has over 500,000 items in stock. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, patches, and even rare, hard-to-find collectibles. If you're looking for something exclusive, Rockabilia drops brand new limited edition merch every month. So if you see something you like, grab it before it's gone. And in fact, we just placed an order for some new merch ourselves. I picked up a very, very cool Linkin Park Meteora hoodie. Josh, did you grab something?
Yeah, I grabbed a couple things. I got a super limited Eminem tour shirt, and then what you mentioned not missing out. I saw a Meatloaf tour shirt from 2005 that I really, really wanted. Unfortunately, I didn't have my size, so I missed out on that one.
Well, there you have it. Don't wait. Our friends at Rockabilia are hooking up Late for Loadin listeners with 10% off when you use code LOAD at checkout. So if your band T collection needs a refresh and you want to support the artists who make the music we love, hit up rockabilia.com, load up your cart, and drop in code LOAD, LOAD, for that sweet discount. Now let's roll today's show. All right, Ollie, welcome to the show, my friend. Thank you for taking some time and chatting with us on the Late for Loadin podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you.
Listen, I know that you're not supposed to play favoritism. However, of all the dudes I met over the years, you might be up there one of my favorites. So thanks for coming on and hanging.
I think you just said you're his favorite kid. That's what I heard.
No grown man has ever said that to me. I feel validated. I feel good. I might have to, after this, I might have to start making some phone calls and just be like, you know what? I've thought about it. Can I say bad words on this podcast?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck you. I'm going to call it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's start this off right. What's one weird or ridiculous thing that happened to you in the past week?
Weird or ridiculous thing that's happened to me in the past week. Okay, well, I just got back from Dom, who's in the band. His sister just got married, and I was at the wedding. And in between the wedding, we were doing a video shoot for a new single that we have coming out. And I didn't even start with the plan. I just know there's something weird that happened in there. I know what happened. I'm mid-30s, right? And I'm still making music, and that's the weirdest shit that's happened to me this week, bro. I tell you.
I thought you were gonna say like the flower girl winked at you. Or something.
No. Okay, but I will tell you this, dude. There were so many extras. There's a scene at the end of the video where there's like a bunch of extras, and they're like, they're looking at me right before I'm about to dip. And so it was like a bunch of strangers, a bunch of people I didn't know. Some people I did know. My fiance was there. All the guys, girls were there. So I was like, okay, I don't know why I just did that. Sorry. Yeah. So, I'm sitting there. I don't know half of these people. And in my brain, I was like, much to the joke of I'm in my 30s and I'm still making music. I was like, I got to start opening the plot. So I was like, maybe somebody important will see this music video and they'll be like, this guy is a fucking actor. Okay. So I put on the chops. I put on the face. In my brain, I was asking the director, I said, now, what kind of running would my character do? I was really into it. So it was all fine all day because we're in and out of studios. But then we get in front of these fucking strangers. No disrespect. Shout out to all strangers in the world. You can't know everybody.
You got a song about that.
Yes, sir. I'm standing face to face with him, and the director, who's Sam Link, doesn't give a shit, okay? If this guy ever tells you he has social anxiety, he's a fucking liar. I've never seen that man have social anxiety. He doesn't give a shit. For the home team video, he had me in a crowded damn alley on Saturday night in front of a pub, filming a fucking music video, looking stupid, like a stupid American. Outed me right in front of all these... Anyways. And then here in the States, he has me running. So the scene was... look at the people and then fucking book it as fast as you can. So I'm booking it. I got my little skinny pants on, some boots. It's Florida. It's 94 degrees. It's 10 o'clock at night. The neighbors are like, what the fuck y'all doing out here? You know what I mean? And so that was the weirdest thing, was really trying to build my acting portfolio while trying to impress strangers while avoiding the neighbors.
I will tell you that you're running looked very convincing.
Brother, thank you. He's in the back of the car shooting it, and I'm fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex, Jurassic Park shit.
Okay, I was about to ask where you were drawing the inspiration from. Were we talking Tom Cruise here, or like are you like
I wanted
high
big
knees throwing the arms up,
high knees throwing the arms up, and then I had to look back. Oh shit! Fix my hair, but not too cringe. You don't want to upset all the boyfriends. Like
this will come out. This will come out after the song comes out, so we will absolutely put the running.
That clip is 100% in this episode.
It's got to happen.
So if you are listening to the audio only version, you are absolutely missing the most epic running in a music video ever. Now.
It might be.
Yeah, they say that you can make every day you make one decision that's important. Well, here. Don't be fucking stupid and watch the music video. Whoever's listening.
That's good.
Don't make a mistake today.
Don't make that mistake.
You know what? Fair enough. I don't think that's heat. That's wisdom right there.
Actually, the song's called I Think They Know, if you want to go listen to it. It'll be out, so we can do that.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Josh. Talking about being in your mid-30s and still playing music, very relatable. 35 here, still playing music like an overgrown child. How far back does music go for you though? Like when did music become like your passion in life?
My passion, or when did I start making music?
I mean, I guess really, how did it come into your life? Like, did you grow up in a musical household? Did you start, like, for me, I started playing music in school. I didn't really have a musical household. I really found my love for music by playing in, like, the orchestral band in elementary school. And from there, it's just like, oh, I love this.
You look like you'd be in an orchestral band.
Yeah, I was the band president my high school year, or my
I'm
senior
not
year of high school.
surprised.
Orchestral.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like, you know,
like
you-
with all the seats and shit.
Yeah,
like,
I'm a
like the
dork, dude.
page.
Come on.
Makes a lot of
Yes.
sense.
Yep.
Makes a lot
You
of
said,
sense.
he said,
too?
watch this one.
to be fair, I played drums, so I was
okay.
in the cooler part.
Yeah,
you
you
were
are
the cool
cool.
section.
yeah.
They had to put you behind the glass shield.
yeah. They put me at the back so nobody could see me
It's
because
okay.
they were embarrassed. It's
Hey,
all right.
Sometimes
I
I
like-
run.
I think that I think that orchestral people are cool. So
They, you know what? They're way more talented than us D-bags
yeah.
playing fucking breakdowns. I don't know what the hell I'm doing up there on stage. I just play open notes on my guitar like a Neanderthal. I don't know shit, you know?
I
They're
don't know shit.
They're the real professionals. Anyway, what people really want to know is how did music like start to make its way into your life?
I mean, I grew up in the late 90s is when I first started really experiencing music. My first time really consuming music videos when I was like 9, 10, and 11 is where I predominantly remember. I grew up pretty white trash, so like all my heroes in the beginning were like loud motherfuckers on the radio. And then like when it wasn't that, it was like really obscure stuff. So for me early on MTV, what really stood out to me was like the Korn and the Linkin
Yeah.
Park, whenever those
Oh,
would
yeah.
slip through, occasionally Papa Roach, you know, like those kind of like new metal-y things.
Yeah, back when you could like turn on TRL after school and those bands would be on MTV.
There'd be like a couple of edgy dudes, and you're like,
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was the first time I really remember idolizing and kind of like drifting towards the TV when that would come on. Admittedly, and I hate to say it now, but Kid Rock used to be my fucking shit.
You know what?
Dude, Ball with the Ball.
It is
As a
same.
trailer park
Ball
white
with the
trash
Ball is
kid,
hard.
are you kidding me?
Same.
My name is Kid. I was like, oh yeah,
Dude,
Imagine
that
starting a
record
song with
and
your
the
name.
record after were those first two records were fucking great. I'll own it.
what
Still
was
to
the
this day.
what was the second one? It had a white cover, right?
It had that American Badass song.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Kid Rock was hard back in those days.
Yeah,
But I wanted to bring up Papa Roach though, because you said Papa Roach, and listen, Papa Roach has been doing it for a long time, and they are still putting out hit after hit after hit. They got this one new song out that they just redid with Carrie Underwood. It's more of a ballady song, and bro, I don't know if you heard it or not, but it is fucking incredible.
That's crazy.
And talking about being in your 30s, doing Jacoby is he's got to be pushing 50 right now, I would assume.
I would think,
but I
yeah.
would put that motherfucker up against any frontman going right now and match his energy. I fucking dare you.
Yeah, he's still got the
fire.
energy, the
That's
same
cool.
energy that he did, when they first broke onto the scene. He kills it.
Did you go to that free Papa Roach show with us down?
Dude, all right, move on. We're not doing this in this episode. We do it in like we're not doing it. Let's move on. Continue.
Did you? So you didn't
no,
go?
I didn't go. Fuck
it was
you.
Papa Roach and Head PE.
Nope.
It
no.
was hard.
Tell,
It was-
go,
It
Why
was
didn't you go?
before it was before Infest came out, and they did like a free radio show at the Inner Harbor in Baltimore. And I thought Chris might have came, but his mom probably wouldn't let him.
God, all right, I was really trying to avoid telling this story again
no
because I tell it
disrespect-
every other episode because
No
you do this all the time.
disrespect to Chris's mom, because I love her dearly, but I don't think she probably would have let him go.
All right, Ollie, here's the deal. Josh and I started playing in a band together when I was 11. And so I was a fucking kid. And so Josh, once a month or more, especially now that we do this podcast, will be like, hey, did you go to this fucking awesome free show with these super sick bands at these tiny venues? And I'm like, no, dude, I didn't go. Thanks for bringing it up. Thanks for rubbing
Well,
it.
I just
he does
asked
this to me all the
because
time. He's a bad friend.
I just asked because I don't remember.
Nope.
More so than trying to insult
Maybe
you.
he's
but
got
I
a
will-
brain thing, man.
I do.
All right, you know what?
But listen,
All
so
right, that's fair. You got me.
what
there.
what I was going to say by taking myself down memory lane to see if you might have joined me for that original Papa Roach show before Infest came out. If you watched that show and then you watch him now, I don't think he's aged.
No.
Oh,
I don't think he's
Illuminati.
aged.
Oh, Illuminati. Man,
I
it's
gotta
getting
figure it
everybody.
out. We got to get Jacoby on here. We talked about this yesterday. We got to get him on here so I could understand what he's taken to stay young.
Adrenochrome.
Oh,
He's
I
drinking
don't
the
know what
blood
that
of
is.
babies.
Ooh.
I'm joking. That's a joke.
Is that what you do?
Is that
No,
what you do?
You look old, so you definitely don't do that. Anyway, let's go.
Yeah,
Keep
anyway.
going.
Anyway, so TRL and
Oh, yeah.
these edgy guys that would pop up back in the day, because we grew up in the glory days of when you could still see cool music on MTV.
Yeah. So yeah, I was a trashy little shit. I didn't really have any friends, and I really didn't have any family structure or dynamic. So music was really fantastic for me, and luckily I did grow up with my mom. Allegedly my dad, but my mom and uncle. I say this on stage. I grew up with a cool uncle. They were into all the cool like real gnarly bands that ultimately I would grow up and get into myself. Although like post punk and goth bands like The Cure, Joy Division, anything that was slightly cool and weird and arty in the late '80s or mid '80s, early '90s. But so once I moved to the East Coast and I met my uncle, after I had like a death in the family, we got out of Vegas and I moved into a house for the first time, or like not a trailer for the first time.
Right.
Where there was a backyard, bro. That shit was crazy. And then, so once I got into that and I met my uncle who was on the East Coast, he came into my life and he became like the father figure and really showed me all the cool bands. I started emulating how he would dress. And then at that point, I started to find things like Fuse and all these other like cool channels with other bands. And I was like, damn, this is really, really fucking awesome. Because at first I really liked the intensity and like the rage of like bands like Slipknot and stuff like that. And I always thought that would be the route that I would end up going down. But then once I started really getting comfortable with bands like a Linkin Park and like a Jimmy World, I was like, okay, there's like an aggression with the music, and then like a message. And because I was en route, I was ground zero at this time for like clinically depressed and ultimately being a musician and maybe taking too much Adderall. That was ground zero for me, really feeling as if you could be upset and angry, but you could also have a message and be poignant and not have to be 6'4" and bulky and strong. Because at the very time I was very uncomfortable with myself and fragile and I almost like that Slipknot and stuff like that had masks on it and shit like that. What really stood out to me was the idea that artists of the early 2000s were treating themselves as if they were like fucking Pink or something. Like every one of them had the look, the image, the guy, the profile. I really like that everything was digestible, even though it felt new and exciting.
Right.
And then, yeah, so like the bands that I listen to now, I didn't really get into until like late 20s because I was able to slow it down and really appreciate it. But now music as a whole is fucking ruined for me because I make music. And so when I go to shows, all I can see and consume is this and this and this and this are totally disconnected. Because now I just watch the show as if, how would I perform?
Right.
So my ego has completely ruined me with consuming music. So now I really just listen to really obscure stuff that's nothing like the stuff we make. I'm rambling. The Adderall's hitting. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
No, you're good. This is stuff we want to know.
Okay.
I'm curious too, though. Like, at what point was it that you started to find that you could do it, and at what point did you start really feeling like? Was there a particular moment that sticks out that you were like, maybe I can go do this?
Yeah, actually, when I was in 10th grade, so after my first kiss, actually, no. After I first saw a half-naked body, I was like, whoa, my body shifted. I was like, I'm not a loser anymore. There's someone out there who wants to be naked with me. This is when I was a young, okay, not
Hey,
naked.
that's a big moment.
Half naked.
That's a big moment.
You know what I mean? And so I just really, really got, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, so I really just got into impressing women. I immediately became obsessed with trying to make people like me, either being funny or like with my talent, because I was like, what my talent? Or I'm gonna find a talent. So I actually was, like I said, I was pretty nerdy, and this was early on. I think in 10th grade I found the program Audacity, the program,
yeah.
and I had like a keyboard, and my uncle lived with us at the time. And I think he had like a guitar. I didn't know how to play any of these instruments, but I knew how to plug them into the computer. So I made these demos, played really shitty, like maybe just holding down. I called the band MDC something Dream something, and I literally printed it out. Went to Target, stole the like stickers you put on top of a CD, wrote fucking blah, blah, blah. And I handed it out at school like an idiot. And I thank God that I don't know anybody from high school. But yeah, there's some CDs floating out there with just me singing, I think into like a literal headset computer mic, just singing these like pure sounding, kind of Jimmy Eat World sounding songs that were terrible. So I'd say around 15 is when I started fucking with that. That really impressed all the people that were like in the alternative, up and coming alternative people. You know, when you're finding your footing and you put your first pair of Vans or Docs on and you're like, this is me now, bitch. So all those people that age, 13, 14, 15 were like, oh, this is sick. So then it really just got me thinking, and then I would communicate with other bands. And funny enough, I started in 11th grade. I was in a metalcore band. And we were playing around Richmond and playing metalcore shows. Really high. I had a high voice. I still have a high voice. So like the sound that I was producing was like this really shrilly kind of a tacky yell, screamy thing.
What year would that have been?
So that would have been about 2000 and probably 2005 or 6.
What was the band called?
It was called, so we had 2 names. I'm trying to think of the second name. The piece, I don't want to say the name of the first one, but so the second name ended up being Plagues of a Human Race.
I just wonder if I would be familiar, because I mean, I still live in Maryland, but I would have been playing shows in the like Northern Virginia down into Richmond area from time to time.
Me too, huh?
Yeah, probably. I just didn't know if maybe we would have crossed paths at some time before.
Honestly,
just totally not known it.
Yeah, so pretty much just playing any like little weekend gig or festival we can get on. It was fine. Friends were showing up. And then one day, it was right around like when that gnarly post-punk thing started happening again with like Explosions in the Sky and like all those ambient bands that were really, again, it rekindled that love for me. I was like, ambient music, really fucking aggressive. It's like, and the drummers fucking, and then the vocals, if there are any, they're just really drawn out shit. So I was like, my homies were like, we're starting this cool indie band. You want to try singing? I did, started singing over it. They were like, yo, Ollie, you kind of got pipes. I immediately stopped screaming because ladies started showing up to the shows. Once I started attracting women, I immediately became a singer. I didn't know I could sing. Only history I know about singing is when I used to, after I got spanked or I got in trouble when I was a kid, or like my mom
would like laugh at that. I don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
No, it's totally fine. That's totally fine. You got a weird thing going on. You want me to get spanked? That's fine. No, she would sing. She would sing is what I was trying to get to. So like whenever I knew that, it's kind of actually dark now that I think about it. Whenever I hear her sing, I'd be like, oh shit, I can talk to mom again. She's happy again. She's calmed down. And I think those are my first, to romanticize it a little, I think those were my first recollections of understanding that music is a bridge between emotions. And so yeah, just to generalize that, when grew up with no dad, but I had a stepdad for a little bit, and he was really into Iron Maiden and Metallica. So that was just always on the vinyl player in the house, the record player. And then my mom, I remember him and me, his name was Mike. He's no longer here, but we took the bus up to Walmart and we got the CD for Life After Love by Celine Dion when it came out. And we put it on the CD, and that was back when we had the stereo with the speakers and everything. Oh, yeah. We didn't have shit in our trailer, but this man had a whole stereo system in a work truck. That was it.
That shit was, he knew what was important.
Yeah, and then I remember putting that shit on. No matter how hard I try. And I remember just sitting there in front of the stereo like, how is she doing that with her voice? And come to find out, that's auto-tune. She was using auto-tune. She was one of the first people to use auto-tune and use it before Kanye and all of this shit and really create the, do you believe? I was like, what the fuck am I hearing? And I don't know why, but I just became obsessed with that sound. And my mom and I would just sit in front of the stereo and listen to that. But yeah, also one fun fact I like to tell, my first CD that I ever bought, aside all of this, I don't give a fuck.
That was going to be my next question.
Oh, okay. Yep. My first
straight
CD
up was
that I ever bought, my aunt Lisa, she's also the artist in the family. She's the one who got me into creating stuff like that. Anyways, her trailer park was like 15 minutes up the road. They would always pick me up and be like, you know what I mean? We got a little bit more money. We'll take you out. Treat you like our little boy. Because at the time they didn't have any kids. So they took me out to the movies and I saw motherfucking Tarzan in theaters. And on the way home, we went to Walmart and I bought that motherfucking Phil Collins Tarzan soundtrack, and it has changed my life.
So good.
I listen to it still.
That is like a 10 out of 10 soundtrack. It really is.
It is great.
It's one of the best. I love it. I don't know what about it was amazing. I just thought it was great. And again, I was a child and it stood out to me. And I would just put that on the little boombox in the room. And cause I shared a room with my parents. And, when they would get up and go to work, I would just lay in bed and clean the room, as in just put on my dad's shirts and look in the mirror. And I would just fucking, play the Phil Collins. And let's say about like 5 years ago when I was still out in LA, I had the opportunity to play the piano that he recorded on that way.
No way.
Yeah, it was a big chapter of my life. So
That's cool.
That's fucking cool. That's real cool.
that was my first CD.
Where- Oh, yeah. Chris's first CD was In Sync, No Strings Attached.
It's true.
That makes sense.
does.
Respectfully.
God
It does.
damn it.
I'll
I'll take that. I deserve that.
It all adds up.
Only because I'm a Baxxter
President
fan.
of the
so.
orchestra.
Oh,
President
shit.
of the orchestra.
President.
And
No, the band. The band.
Oh, okay. He's
Not
with the
the
band.
orchestra, because that's a separate class. I was
leave him
president
alone.
of the band.
Okay, he's with the band. We got it. You leave him alone. You're important.
I'm with the band.
Where did you find your confidence from?
I think where I found my confidence from is I think I realize and whenever I get a little stoned, I always start really thinking about this, but I think my confidence came from the fact that nobody gives a shit about you. Like, even sometimes your own family. Like, I struggle to maintain relationships with my family. Sometimes I don't even text them back, and it's so terrible. There are good people in this world. There are bad people in this world. I believe everybody has a possibility to do somewhere in between. But I think I quickly realized that you aren't who you say you are. You are what you do. And so
Sure.
I'm
true.
not going to be a good person. I'm not going to be a valued person to some people. Some people are going to look at me and be like, short ass, LOL. And I just have to accept that that's people's first interpretation of me. But the one thing that I can't control, I always say, my therapist and my fiance, they say, control your controllables. The one thing that I can't control is you're going to fucking laugh when you're around me. Or if you're not laughing, you're going to be like, well, he's doing his thing and he's confident. You see what I'm saying? So by telling people I'm confident, I'm almost managed people, or acting confident, I've almost managed to trick people into thinking that I am confident.
Sure.
Because really, I'm anybody that's doing a dance. I mean, you know what I mean? I'll probably be dancing and singing until I meet Jesus and look in his eyes and say, let me in the gates. La da 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 la da. Because it's just the type of personality that I've developed. I've clearly always wanted attention. Fatherless children unite. But ultimately, I think once I realized that people like being entertained and people like, I want to be a conversation piece for someone else, or I want to make people feel good about themselves because what I'm doing is either too ridiculous or so like you don't even second guess it. It feels natural. I like the idea that people can feel comfortable around me with that, because again, nobody gives a shit. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if you have a Gucci shirt. I don't give a shit if you have all my favorite PlayStation 2 games. Like, one day, you're nothing. And the only thing you will be is what people say you were, And so my goal is to really just be remembered, because I don't want to go out like half of my family who are hiding and sheltered and under the weight of drugs, alcohol, or poverty is the biggest one. And so even though I'm broke, I am not a fucking quitter. So I don't even know if I answered that question, but that's where I get my confidence from. It's the idea that I don't want anybody to look at me and see like, oh yeah, that's what happens when you grow up in a trailer park without a father and you have a lot of addiction issues in your family. I want them to go, oh, he's normal. He's just like us, Sure. Because I also feel like that is better for me. It makes me feel like I belong. It makes me feel like I can sit at the table, if you know what I mean. So I'm almost kind of, let me shut up. Let me just shut the fuck up.
No, I think all that's great. And I think that like, it goes into that whole idea of like breaking the cycle, like you're saying you have made the conscious decision to actively try to break the generational cycle that runs within your family. And I think that's fucking awesome, because that's a lot of hard work and it can be fucking scary, A
lot of people don't have the courage to do that. A lot of people are okay falling back into what I guess, is A, all you know, and B, routine.
Yeah. But
You know,
the
that's
other
the
side of
easy-
that too is
That's
like
the easy route.
you said that you act confident to make people believe that about you, but it's like, well, isn't that kind of what we're all doing anyway? Like, we're all faking it till we make it in some area of our life.
I mean,
that just is the reality of being human. So I don't think
I've done
that's
it my
even
whole
out of the
fucking
ordinary.
life.
Same. We all fucking have. I have the worst imposter syndrome in the world at all times, and it doesn't matter how much success, however you want to define that, right? That I have in music, I will always feel like I'm on borrowed time, and like somebody tomorrow is going to knock on my door and be like, we caught you. You were never supposed to be here in the first place. Fucking go start sweeping floors. Like, I'm waiting for that day. But until that day happens, I'm gonna bust my ass and
It's
like
coming.
try to earn my place here. I know it is. Fuck off. But so I can I fully relate to that. Every day I wake up and I exist in this world of being in a band and very fortunately having a career in playing music. Like, I'm still trying to prove that I'm supposed to be here, right? Like,
I wake up every day not knowing what the fuck I'm doing.
I don't know either, but I'm still trying to figure it out and like prove that I'm supposed to be here, though. You know what I mean? So we're all doing that. We're all doing that.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find your way to Broadside?
So I was recording a R&B album with this guy that I found on Craigslist, and
Love that.
he was managing me, and he was like pitching me to local radio, and I had a song. It was like about fucking, and it was like, I wanna wake your roommates up. It was just so cringe. And but
Is that out somewhere that the people can listen to it?
No. But he put on like a local radio, and I remember listening to the local radio like, oh shit, things about to change. But then I was uploading videos on YouTube of covers, and Stand By Me is like one of my top 4 favorite songs of all time, and I did a cover of it. And at the time, my voice kind of had like a Johnny Craig kind of gritty kind of R&B thing, and they were like, hey, look at that white guy, he's got some you know what I mean, he's got something special about him, this little fuck right here. And the internet said, let's push this to the right people. And this guy messaged me, and he was like, hey man, our singer just left, and we're on Warped Tour, and we're selling CDs, and we were gonna play, but now we can't. And where are you from? We'd love to try out. We love your sound. And I was like, I'm in Richmond, Virginia. I was in R&B mode, so I was probably like, I'm in Richmond, something something cool and casual like that. And then he was like, hey, what the fuck? We're in Richmond too. Where do you live? And I sent my address, and it was 10 minutes up the road. I printed off the lyrics to the 4 songs they had. I showed up to band practice, sang the songs. The songs were fucking ass, respectfully. The lyrics sucked ass. At that time, all those pop punk bands were like just trying to get away from somewhere. And I'm like, shit, I'm trying to get out of my head. So I started rewriting all the lyrics about like not getting out of your town, but getting out of your fucking body. And I think it really resonated with people because it still kind of had the pop punk sound in the beginning, because I was still trying to, how do you go from R&B to, you know what I mean? So I was trying to find some sort of balance. And then we recorded a video for $200. I live 5 minutes up the road from where we recorded it. I was there this morning, meditating on this podcast, actually. And then, it sounds so cringe. That sounds so cringe. I'm not in LA anymore. I got to stop saying shit like that. I was just fucking smoking a cigar up there. Anyway, so I'm chilling. And we recorded the video, $250 that night. And the old drummer and I, his name's Andrew, we literally send the link, and we're like, yo, this song's called Storyteller. We're sending it to everybody we possibly can. And we woke up in the morning, and Alt Press Japan had posted it and was like, check out this new, we had to translate it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Google Translate now where it's like, we had to like copy it and then go to a different website. And they were like, oh, this is cool. Like, blah, 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 Richmond, Virginia. To see a bunch of like, kanji, I think is what it is, Japanese, and just read through it, and then just being like, seeing the name Broadside and then Richmond, Virginia. I was like, holy fuck. After that, we got a few offers, got a record deal, and then the rest was history. So yeah, it was just filming a music video, believing in yourself, having a city that really rolled out, because like part of the video was like a party scene, and we had like 150 kids coming to shows over the years, rolling up, and it made for a good video. You're at a party, you're singing, whatever. So it really just showed labels and other people like, oh shit, these guys are willing to do the work. And that was then, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was like 2013. So yeah, it was just a matter of literally cold calling and then just having a sound and a belief in yourself. And we just got really lucky from there. And then once we got some of those things, we would pitch to labels and be like, look at these magazines that are just posting about us and we're nobody. And the labels would be like, oh shit. So then
Gotta pay attention now.
Their A&R guy can go, I found this band. Look at me. I did so good. And it's like, all you did was your algorithm. Yeah. Anyways.
So speaking of labels, you guys ultimately ended up signing with Victory, and I love asking this question because I've told this before, but I joined Texas in July. It was my band before the Ghost Inside. They had just signed to Equalvision like a couple months prior, so I didn't sign a deal then, and then I joined the Ghost Inside, and we put out a record after our accident, and then I didn't sign my first record deal until 2022 when I had already been doing this for 12 years full time. You know, like it was my job for 12 years before I signed a record deal. And so you know, at that point, it's not that it's not special to sign a deal, but it's like a little bit of the oh my God factor is gone because I've already been doing it as a job. So I love to hear, like, what was that moment like for you when you've got that fucking contract and you're signing it for the very first time? What did that feel like for you?
I could almost cry thinking about it. I remember I had no money. I was like broke and I was putting all my love into the band. I had moved back in with my mom. I was sleeping in her like extra, like the fucking back room with the where the dog slept at, you know, I was sleeping in there and I was just working 2 pizza jobs and my car was just not working. And it's not like it changed my life financially, but it was like we did the showcase. We're driving back home, and this is the other thing. You ready for this? The band was broken up at the time because our drummer had just moved to San Francisco. He was like, "We're not fucking doing anything. Nothing is happening." I filled in for this other band called July. They're from Canada. They're like, "Ollie, we're about to go on tour, and our singer just dipped or some shit." I don't remember. No disrespect to him, but I was like, well, all right, when's the show? And he's like, in 3 days in New Jersey. I was like, what? Okay, 3 days. And he was like, yeah, I need you to learn 7 songs. We're going on tour with Major League and blah, blah, blah. Hit the lights. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And they're like, and we need your van. Because we had a van at the time. So I drive up there. The first couple of shows I'm playing, I do the tour. It was like 2 weeks long. I'm reading lyrics on the ground. I'm like sneaking down, I go by the wedge real quick. I look at the lyrics and I come back up and I just bullshit. And I'm like, man, I really like being on tours. This is so cool, but it's not my band. And then at the very last day, I'm driving home. I'm just looking around and I check our email, dude. And we got the email that said, hey, we want to do this. We want to sign you. Here's the offer. And I called all the band individually because I had a long drive home. And I said, hey, I know this sounds crazy. And I know you just moved and I know we're broke and blah, blah, blah. But I need you guys to believe in me. And that was the very beginning of me realizing that I'm not a leader, but I'm pretty decent at convincing people. And I'm also really good at signing myself up for the shooting range. What is it? When you line up against the wall and you get
firing squad?
The firing squad. Because then it's like, you fucking told us that, you know what I mean?
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, we had nothing. I had nothing. I was going home to nothing after cosplaying a band member for another band. Yeah. And then we get the offer and I was like, I want to do this. We do it. And on the way home after the showcase, it was quiet, it was weird, bizarre. Probably you've heard scenarios about how the Victory showcases go. We're driving home. I'm like, great. You know, I got go back to work at 7 in the morning to get off at 2 to go to my other pizza job with no car. So I'm taking a bus and stupid shit. But anyways, he was like, yeah, we want to sign you guys. So let's talk about it. And I remember going home and just feeling like, I think we got a check. It was like $10K or something for like, I don't want to talk about for what they got in the end, but at the time, I was just looking at it and I woke my mom up. You know, I'm fucking 24, 25, and I'm like, Mom, guess what? Come still live in her house. She's like, what? What do you want, son? I give her a more southern accent because it's funny. What you want, son? And I go, look, it's fucking dark, and I'm holding up this little check, and it was $10K. And it was the first moment that I realized that I could create something that people want to buy, or I could create something that people want to market.
Yeah.
And it made me feel powerful.
I want to back up just a hair because you said something that a lot of people don't know about, and a lot of people, and especially bands today, don't have to experience. But you talked about the showcase.
Yeah.
Label showcases almost don't exist anymore. You know, bands are getting signed before they've even played a show. They're, you know, they're popping off on TikTok or Instagram, and labels are jumping on it before they've even not only has the label not seen them live, but a lot of times the band hasn't even played live before. So what was the showcase like? Because to be honest, I haven't heard any stories of the Victory showcases myself. So I'm curious what that's like.
So it's a warehouse. You roll up. We're also like, what the fuck? So we drive to Chicago from Virginia. We literally opened a credit card to pay for the gas to get there. So we get there and we're like, okay, we get into the showcase room. There's nobody there, just a person working at the desk. They're like, back room's the stage. You guys can go set up. They'll be here in 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, cool. They roll up. It's like 7 or 8 of them. Dark ass fucking room. Imagine a venue. You get there and it's just the guy mopping the floor. Like the end of the night lighting is what the shit was like. A little bit like, what the fuck? Couldn't see house. You couldn't see anything. And it was pretty small. I'd say imagine like a 200 cap room. So we're playing it. We're playing through the wedges. No ears, no backtracks, nothing. Just straight ripping that shit. We get in there. We're like, cool. We have 7 songs for you guys. Tony walks in and he goes, play your best 3. Go. And we're like, he says that from the crowd. And I'm just like, fuck.
But there was no crowd.
It was like 7
He was
of
the
them.
crowd.
Yeah, it was like 7 of them, a couple A&R people, and only he. And then as we did the 3 songs, I just turned around. We're like, fuck, what do we do? I turn around like, what are our 3 best songs? At the time, we don't know what our 3 best songs are.
Right.
You know? So we play Coffee Talk, we play Storyteller, the one that was already recorded, and we play this other one called Avery. It's about my best friend. And we sing those, and I like hit the wedge. Never in my life have I fallen. Hit the wedge, stumbled a little. I was like, I feel like I'm fucking in a high school damn chili cook-off or something. Anyways, he's walking around. He's doing all this crazy shit I'd never seen anybody do before. Listening. You know what I mean? Fucking looking like a gyroscope or something. I'm like, what is this doing for the sound? And then we finish the songs. He goes, all right. They all leave the room.
That's it. No hang, no nothing.
And the lady at the desk was like, yeah, they'll probably be in touch or something. I don't know. And then
Jesus Christ.
On the ride home, we got the call and they said, yeah, we want to sign you guys.
So what did that feel like? Holy shit, we made it? Or was it more of like a, oh shit, what now?
Yeah, to me, it was holy shit, we made it, because in my mind, I don't come from shit, and opportunities like this, I don't come from a line of people that believe in themselves. So immediately after they said, we're interested in signing you, it was immediate ground zero of, I had to figure this out. Because not only have I grown up and not been able to ask an adult, like, for financial advice or like, hey, I feel this type of way, I've always kept that shit introspective, or I've looked to my favorite artists or authors to help me out with that, you know what I mean? And this is pre-TikTok gurus, like, guys, get up and put ice on your nipples and you'll feel strong, you know, like whatever they're saying, you know. This was back in the day when you had to get like the fucking your dad's entrepreneurial books, you know, if you had a dad. But hey, guess what? No, baby, Oliver Bastard. Anyways,
Jesus Christ.
So, anyways, after that moment, I was immediately like, okay, I got to figure this out step by step, and that's exactly what happened. I've learned so much through failure and just straight up like the things I don't like, and that sounds so cringe, but the reality is, oh my God, be a tough guy. And this is a metaphor because I've never been in this situation, but be a tough guy until you get your ass beat, and then see where you are after. And it falls the same for anything. Oh, you're a singer in a band? Okay. If you think just singing and showing up and looking cool is part of it, fine. About integrity, you know what I mean? The things that are underlying, representing the band, dividing this idea that you're the front of the band and that you're not representing the band and that you're not woven through each member. It's all these things that I really just kind of had to navigate myself. I didn't have band friends. I didn't know anybody in Richmond. So it did to me feel like I made it. Not like my life's about to change, I'm about to be rich, but somebody said, hey, it felt like the hand of God or the devil just came and was like, I'm going to make you dance. And I was allowing that. I said, I know that you're going to use me as a vessel and I want to be used by that. Sorry, my dog's more little.
No, you're good. You're
He's
good.
A wiener dog. That's mine are outside for that exact purpose.
It's maybe not like a life-changing thing, but like a like validation that like I'm not completely crazy to be pursuing this path. Somebody said you've got something worth investing into, and that is a huge moment. You know, to be
Absolutely.
recognized as like, okay, I'm not crazy, because a lot of people look at what we do as like, you're never going to make it, you're going to be a failure, you're wasting your time. And like to have somebody who has already made a name for themselves put their hand up and be like, I believe in you, even if it is Victory Records.
That's-
even for
so
them to
what-
be.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
all ultimately want to feel, no matter what the fuck you're trying to do in this life, I think validation is probably
Yes.
one of the greatest drugs in this world.
100%.
Even too, though, Victory Records back then was like the mecca.
Yeah, big deal.
Victory Records was the shit back then. We didn't know what we know now. It was.
Yeah,
it was
I saw Taking Back Sunday. I saw that Comeback Kid had just
Atreyu.
put out a killer record on that label, and I saw fuck, I'm totally
A Day to
missing,
Remember?
Yeah, I'm totally missing out
Fucking-
all those bands. But yeah, all the like early hardcore '90s thrash bands, I was like, this is sick. They did it. Fucking Take Back
Yeah.
Sunday did it. Hawthorne
The
Heights.
Bulldog was so fucking cool.
Mhm.
The
100%.
Bulldog was like the dream.
Yeah, and in my brain, dude, I and this is where the PTSD and stuff comes in. I'm like, how fucked up can anyone really be? And
Yep.
I have reverted that and redacted that statement from my life. Not just from that experience, from just people in life in general, right? But yeah, I always thought like I had the I can fix her mentality.
Based on everything that we've learned so far about your upbringing
Yeah.
and your mom and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff, like what was your mom's reaction to this? Like, did she
To getting signed.
Yeah, like was she proud? Did it not matter, or was she like, whoa, he's actually doing something?
All respect, she was not. Yeah, all respect, she did not have any sort of like uptick in the beginning. My family struggles with like this might be oversharing, but like gnarly PTSD, and
Yeah.
so like which is in turn caused us to all revert within and not really show this like intense excitement for
Emotion.
other people.
Yeah.
Which is why I find myself kind of overdoing it sometimes, because I'm trying to get ahead of that, because I know it's in us. But like my brother, sister, and my mom, that's all the family that I have left. We're all kind of like, hey man, sick, but we very humanizing. Like recently we're playing in Richmond, biggest show. We were playing the National, right? We used to play in the Canal Club, and we're stoked to play with Silverstein and just all these goated bands. And then I was talking to my sister, and she's like, yeah, I'm not coming to that shit. You know, granted, and I'm just kind of like, it was a joke, right? But also she's in a wheelchair, so fair enough. But I know I'm oversharing. Sorry, blame the Adderall.
No,
You're fine.
And then,
you're totally fine.
But the reality is we can talk to each other like that, because so
Right.
there was no level of like, oh my God. Now I
Sure.
will say there has been moments when I think like when she came to Warped Tour and saw the crowd, or like when she came to like our headliner and she was like, there's like 400 people in this room and they're like going kind of nuts for you. And I think those are them, because now she comes to all my shows, but I think in Richmond, and I feel like that's when she was like, oh wow. But the guilt settled in for her, because once she saw me doing good, she was like, oh, I'm a bad mom. I should have been there, you know. So I never had that like payoff moment. And selfishly, I think I do. I think you know where I have got that payoff moment from Dom, the guitar player. His dad. His dad shows so much love and support for me, and he'll like DM me, and he's randomly just like, love this song. He'll like post lyrics, and other people's parents generally like me, so I get it from them. I use people's parents, so if any of y'all's parents want to chat, just let them know. I'm fine.
Hey, my mom has taken in many of my friends, so I'm sure she'd be happy to take you in also.
Oh yeah.
I think it's one of those things that
Just kidding.
I think it's one of those things too that, you know, in hindsight now, being a parent, right? Parenting is fucking hard, man. Especially if you just simply don't have it, right? Like when I was a kid, and we're sharing stories and whatnot, when my great grandma died, she left savings bonds. Remember savings bonds? Like
Yeah.
you would get a $1,000 savings bond or something, and it probably cost them $20, but over the amount of 10 years, it generates, it adds up to becoming $1,000 or whatever. And my parents stole mine, and I was super upset about that. But then I later learned that, man, if I was in a position where I had no choice but to make ends meet and go take $150, $200 out of my son's piggy bank to make ends meet, like where I think they fucked up is they should have explained that to me. I was old enough to understand it. But where I'm going with this is like, sometimes, man, you got to do what you got to do as a parent. And if there's $200 sitting in there and I can't buy dinner, like, bro, I got to take this $200 and go get what we got to get.
Yeah.
And that's just a reality, you know? So where I guess as a parent and learning how, you know, difficult life is, especially these days, everything's fucking expensive. But like, you know, sometimes as a parent, you just got to do what you got to do to make it work and to make sure that we can, you know, provide and do whatever it is that we need to do.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing is like her sacrifices for me are not ever questioned. Her and I have had such a gnarly fucking life together.
Sure.
So I accept that she's not going to be a model person, but I also love that even if there's one person out there that has 12% love for me and they happen to be like, I'm your mother, I can deal with that because I've learned to find love from other places, and I've also learned to really overcome my jealousy of people's happiness with their family, particularly. And it's quite often it's challenged. I was just challenged at, you know, the wedding I just went to, hearing the dads talk about their sons. It really like, you know, I felt like I could weep. I feel like I could weep just like hearing a grown man say, I raised my son right, letting him watch Caddyshack. And I'm just thinking, ooh, like those are the moments that you go, fuck, like it is not about being like, Dad, can I borrow your wrench? Or Dad, can I get a ride to work? But it's those like, hey, look at my son. And I'll never experience that. And I think that no matter how fucking old I am, you know what I mean? I'm 36. It's like, I will always have that fire burning in me of questioning. So I've learned to accept that I'm not going to get the model, come here, son, I'm your mother, you're the best. Do you
know your dad or no?
Yeah, I know my father.
Are you cordial or do you speak or no?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He dipped and then he, you know what's crazy about this motherfucker? Side note, like, cause we're all grown men here. I just want to throw this out here. This man, legally that I know of, has 12 children from like 9 women. Imagine you're just a normal guy, right? Set of dick and balls. Walking, I won't put any limits on it. You just got a set of dick and balls, okay?
Right.
And you're going around the world and you're just fucking and you're just making children and you're going to give them all the last name because you're eloping some of these women, and then they're going to just reach out to me because I'm pretty easy to find on the internet.
Yeah, sure.
And,
has that happened?
Oh my God, has it? And they're like, hey, are you in touch with Jason, you know? And I'm just thinking like, so here we all are, grown adults. Can you imagine some shit knowing that you got fucking 9, 10, 11 kids out there and they're all like, why are you such a piece of, because now I'm grown. Like, I wouldn't, I'm not even mad. I'm not even happy. I'm like, I don't know you, bro. But I'm also like, did you skateboard? Did you like bands?
Yeah,
like, what the fuck? Like, you're out here just fucking? Like, you can't stop fucking? That's your problem?
Right.
Or at very least, fucking responsibly. Like, use a fucking rubber, dude. What are you doing?
Right. That's crazy.
But yeah,
I won't say who it is, but I have a buddy whose dad served in, I believe, Vietnam.
Okay.
And must have had a hell of a time over there because they've had multiple people show up, multiple Vietnamese kids show up and be like, I think your dad is my dad.
Okay, so wait, that's fire. Like, that's exciting.
Crazy.
That's exciting. I'm just getting normies. Nobody cool has reached out to me yet. Like, yo, we're siblings. As soon as a cool sibling reaches out.
Yeah, but has anybody showed up at your front door looking for your dad? Because that's happened to my buddy too.
No, I'd be like, hold on. I'm going to get a flashlight. We're going to find him.
Let's get the search party out. Let's go on a scavenger hunt.
So going back to Victory, and you said you kind of had like a I can fix her mentality. Was it? I mean, everybody knows the stories about Victory and how they treated their artists.
It's no secret.
Yeah, it's literally couldn't be less of a secret, you know. And even if it was a secret at one point, it wasn't a secret after the Data Member lawsuit.
Sure.
Which they had many of those prior to that, but what was your experience with Victory, and did that experience itself leave you with PTSD about what it was like to be a part of the music industry at large.
So yeah, I think so. I definitely had PTSD because I feel like the one thing that nobody wants to tell you about, especially to young musicians, is that the music industry, the circle, let's call it the circle,
Sure.
is so coveted and protected that motherfuckers will go, I don't like your label and I will never take you on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if there's been any shadows in cast on the Broadside Music, LLC, it has been the idea that sorry, it's tax season. It
Sure is.
yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is. Hey, here's a tip: never be the sole proprietor for your LLC. Okay, don't fucking do it. Get a tax man. Josh, we'll talk about that later.
All right, let's do it.
It's time to get the business manager. Anyway, fucking, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I think just based off of like whatever relationships other bands and other artists have had with the label in the past, it really fucking stained the legacy to the point where people were immediately like, let's just write them off. So it made us underdogs from the beginning. Which I'm like, shit, I come from nothing. I've slept outside for a majority of my life. I don't give a shit. Like,
right.
I want you to not like me because I'm good. Because I'm going to make you like me. Because eventually you'll get over it.
Does that being the underdog, does that almost fuel you more?
Fuck yes.
You think I can't do this? Fucking watch this. Does it give you like that kind of energy?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so that was a huge problem. Being young and naive and not really knowing how to set shit up or ask questions, I think was my biggest problem. We can all sit here and point fingers, you signed this deal, yada yada. But the reality is I wasn't fucking 15, okay? And we're not talking multons and millions of dollars. I should have did a better job at due diligence of reading through the contract and shit. And I didn't. And you know what's fucked is even the lawyer that we got ended up being shady in the end. And didn't really and he was like an entertainment sucks. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, it did leave me with PTSD. And I'm still fucking going. We're working on our 5th record right now, and I feel like we still haven't blown in the scene. But yet I haven't met anybody in the scene where they listen to us or hear us and meet us. And nowadays, now that we're actively trying to break out of that and be like as friendly and as cool and if we're opening the tour, like as set back and respectful as possible, even though we've been touring for 10 plus years, we're still playing that like opening shows and like the new guy game and putting our pride and ego to the side. So it's certainly left us with PTSD as in like, what the fuck? Why are our songs streaming by the millions, but yet we we're not moving tickets here and here and here. And the reality is we've just had so many different starting points from different labels and stuff like that it's really kind of hard to navigate our core fan base right now, if that makes any sense, because it's come whether from its online marketing or in real life or just throughout the years so yeah, it's actually fucked us greatly moving around so much, but it's certainly taught me to ask questions and it's certainly taught me to fear no man. I'll say that.
I'm curious when the lawsuit thing happened with Victory and it became a public thing, like what did that feel like as an active artist, on the roster? Because it's not like you were not a band anymore and you just happen to be on, they just had to happen to have your catalog, but you guys are still trying to grow and build.
Yeah, so funny enough, I didn't hear anything from the label. We were recording our 3rd album, and then on the last day, Lamb Goat tweeted out. People were tweeting at us, and Lamb Goat said something like, Victory Records has sold to Concord. And I was like, that's weird. We're recording an album right now. So I can't get into the full legalities of it, but essentially I had to go and do the background work of like contacting the label and being like, hey, what the fuck is this? And basically, for lack of better words, they were like, hey, yeah, we did sell. Sorry, I had to find out like this. They just own the first 2 records, but we're going to keep just going business as usual. And that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to get a lawyer and get up out of that situation. Because it was a weird merging thing, and like I said, I found out through Lamb Goat that another label had bought my first 2 albums and owned them to this day.
I can't even imagine having that experience
in the studio. By the way, just finished their record, so we're all like, yeah, and it was
that's like the worst way to find out.
5 months before COVID, so
fuck, dude, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but we made it on the other side. You know what I mean? Ish. And yeah, it was fucking gnarly, man. And like I said, it makes you feel so worthless. Like, it makes me feel to this day worthless that I cannot, and this is going to sound crazy, I cannot attract a single man in my life that just wants to keep it real with me. Like, everybody just wants to be Mr. Him. And I'm like, I don't want Mr. Him. My band doesn't want Mr. Him. We're not fucking millionaires. And I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I just want to have some fucking like real talks. What do you like about me? What is marketable about the band? What do you want out of me to progress whatever we're doing? But for some reason, I kept attracting this crazy ego-driven, I'm this and that. And I think, unfortunately, it's in everybody that's in the music industry, because you kind of got to lie to yourself. You kind of got to be Mr. Him in order, if you want to keep the gears turning, you know, but there's levels to it. So
it's definitely a tough place. It's definitely a tough place to navigate. That's for sure. Cause I'm not with the bullshit either. And it's fucking, you know, like, I hate the bullshit, and some people like me, some people don't, but I just don't have time for the bullshit, and I'm not going to. And if that means that I got to go serve pizzas and steal $200 out of my son's piggy bank to make ends meet, then hey, it's what I got to go do.
God dang.
What's up, Road Crew? We want to take a second to tell you about an awesome program for music professionals called Sight for Sound from the team over at Nevin Eyewear. If you're out on the road, whether you're a touring musician, a crew member, or working at a venue, this is for you. Nevin is offering free prescription eyewear to the people who keep the music world spinning. We're talking high-quality frames, legit prescription lenses, and zero strings attached. Just solid gear to help you see clearly while you're out there doing what you do best.
Nevin was founded by John Strauss, a guy who came up in the metal and hardcore scene, so he knows exactly how tough and thankless this life can be. Sight for Sound is his way of giving back to the scene that shaped him, supporting the people behind the music with something as simple and vital as clear vision. As Chris and I know directly from working in the music industry for the majority of our adult lives, we know there are no benefits or retirement funds, so this support is vital. All you have to do is head over to nevineyewear.com, fill out a quick form, and if you qualify, your new glasses are on the house. That's it.
It's an awesome way to take care of the folks who take care of the music, so go check it out, and hopefully we'll see you out there on the road with perfect vision. We all know that music isn't just sound, it's connection, it's healing, it's everything when you're feeling lost. That's why Late for Load-In is partnering with Heart Support, the nonprofit founded by Jay Klurs of August Burns Red to bring real, free peer support straight to you.
Are you feeling down and need someone to talk to? Just text Late for Load-In to 1-512-647-2871 and get connected with someone who understands, someone who gets how music pulls us through the hardest times. It's totally free, totally judgment-free, and 100% about supporting you through the music we love.
And if you're in a good place right now, you can be part of healing the scene. Heart Support is looking for volunteer repliers, fans like you who want to help others through the power of music. You'll be trained to support fellow fans who are struggling and join a community built on connection, mental health, and the music that keeps us going.
And again, if you need support, text Late for Load-In to the number 1-512-647-2871. If you want to be support, sign up at heartsupport.com/volunteer. Together, we're making this scene stronger.
Today's show is sponsored by Bestronix Pro Audio. Let's be real, your rig is only as solid as the cables running through it. Whether you're touring the world or building out your dream setup at home, you need quality cables that won't let you down. That's where Bestronix Pro Audio comes in. BTPA specializes in full tour rig builds, custom cabling solutions, and if you're the hands-on DIY type, they've got bulk cable and connectors so you can wire up your own setup exactly how you want it. Everything they make is road-tested, built to last, and trusted by the pros. And because you're part of the Late for Load-In crew, BTPA is giving you 10% off your order. Just use the code LFLI10 at checkout and save on the best cables in the business. So don't let bad cables kill your tone or ruin your set. Hit up btpa.com, lock in that discount, and keep your rig dialed and ready for the road. Today's episode is brought to you by you, our incredible listeners and patrons over at patreon.com/LFLIpod. By joining, you'll get early access to episodes, exclusive monthly giveaways featuring rare memorabilia from Josh and I's time on the road, and access to our patron-only music review and reaction live streams. But that's not all. You'll also get into the Late for Load-In Road Crew Discord, where you can connect with fellow fans, submit guest requests, and drop your questions for the show. The best part? It's just $1 a month. If you love what we're doing and want to help keep the show rolling, head over to patreon.com/LFLIpod and join the road crew today. Now, back to the show.
Did being signed to a label at that point in your career change the way you saw yourself as a frontman?
Yeah, it definitely did. I felt like really inclined to do all the stuff. So like my entire days at that point would be, because in the beginning when you're trying to break a band, it would be like I would do like 5 hours of press every day at home, whether it be like in answering questions or doing whatever. I would take any and all press, even though like there's four people listening to this and stuff like that. And
kind of like this. Thanks.
no. You know what I mean? Like you guys are. We're actually having an engaging
like
conversation. So,
Right.
So to me, this is like, if somebody were to stumble upon this, they'd learn more about me. They'd learn more about you, Chris, and they would learn more about you as well, Josh. And I feel like that's
steal
great.
my son's
Yeah, that you're a
$200.
fucking thief, dude. No, but yeah, it really did make me be like, okay, if I started looking at other singers and stuff like that, and I was like, I can't just be this, like, I'll show up and be really good and then escape and go hide in the green room. I had to have this level of, like, entertainment and then also entertaining your peers. And that's when it made me realize, like, oh, fuck, this isn't just a show for the audience, it's a show for the other bands, too. And that's the game, right? That's playing the game that everybody wants to go, you got to play the game. And it's like, oh, I know the game. I know the game.
It's true. And that's kind of something that people don't say out loud, but that is absolutely a thing. That's
I didn't think
100%
about
true.
that.
It doesn't matter
I don't
how
know that
old
I've
you
ever thought
are.
of it from
There are
that
still
regard.
people in bands that I go up to and I'm like, yo, man, what's up, man? It's so good to see you. Just so they know that they go, okay, he was decent. It's an elevator pitch situation. Because I know if they listen to my band or whatever, if they don't even fuck with me, the next time they might be like, yeah, I met that dude. He was cool. Like if a band reaches out to them and they're like, yo, you toured with Broadside. What was that like? I want them to be like, they were cool. They're respectful.
Right.
Singer's funny as fuck. He's tall, bro. He's fucking got a long, just all the normal real stuff about us.
No, that's a real thing. When I was in Texas, we never became like we were never hot shit. We weren't selling a ton of tickets or like moving a bunch of records, but and we weren't thinking about it as a game. But when you put it that way, I'm like, well, yeah, that's definitely a thing because we got so many massive tours just because when bands took us out, we were easy to be around. We were fun. Mm-hmm. We took our shit serious. We didn't cause problems. And so when people were thinking about who do we want to take on this next tour, well, we were just the easy band to take because we were easy to be with, Mm-hmm. Like that's definitely part of it. But I never thought about it as part of the game, but you say that and I'm like, well, yeah, it is. Whether you're thinking about it that way or not, like that's a massive piece of the puzzle.
I truly
100%.
Never thought of it from that perspective.
It's a massive piece of the puzzle.
I guess it is. It really
and
is.
It's not like being fake and like there's levels to it, right? There are some people who are like trying to fit in their own skin and trying to be like, this is who I am. But there is a level of like, I don't give like one of my favorite things. Do you know what really taught me this? About 3 years ago, I met my fiance's grandpa, and he's an older Greek man, very fucking intense. He's buried his wife, so he's got like a heart of fucking steel. Okay, he's like, I don't care. His last name's Valuticus, very stern. Sarah was like, he might be a little bit weird about the tattoos. He doesn't give a shit about the band, but he's going to be respectful. He's an older man. I walk right in that motherfucker on goddamn Christmas Eve. I walked in, everybody's like, Ollie, right? Her family's like, oh, the cousins are like, oh, we're going to go beat Ollie up in the backyard. It's a good time. I walk right up to him. And I looked him in his eyes and I shook his hand. I said, it's so good to finally meet you.
Won him over immediately.
The rest of the night, he was like, oh, the fact that this man walked up to me with his little frou-frou hair and this little tight shirt and his tattoos, thinking he looks good on Christmas Eve. I walked up, I shook his hand, I gave him the respect that he won. And it made me realize, like, that's what it is. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I don't give a fuck what you know about me. I don't care what you heard about me. I want you to know what I'm telling you. And right now, I respect you. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's not about being fake. It's about being respectful. And it's also about laying out the field in front of you to communicate with other people like, hey, this is how I think of you. Do you return that?
I think, too, it shows that you're strong, too, because that could be intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, it's either going to go one way or the other. But, dude, think about it. I walk out... The older I get and the less I give a fuck on stage. I'm watching some of these live video back. We're posting a bunch of TikToks right now, Chris, of like live footage and then adding the text over it. You know what I mean? Following the home team formula. And I'm watching these videos because I don't see myself on stage. And I'm like, look at these fuckers here, dude. Like we don't look cool. We look a little silly, but we look like we're having a good time. And I'm just looking at them like, who gives a fuck? If that's what they see, I'm out here shaking ass and I'm singing like, okay, well, that's the kind of show some people want. Some people want some people want shows where they're like, everyone here, this is a time where the world and the government. And then there's times where I go, hey, what's up? I'm white trash. Let's shake some ass.
A Broadside show is a good time, Chris. If you haven't been to one, you have to check one
I
out.
haven't, but I feel like I need to change that.
Yeah, it'd be a good time.
It's a
I need to
good
change that.
It's a good time. Which is a perfect segue to this next question. Is that at what point have you always done jokes and stuff on stage, or is it something that you kind of recently or more recently adopted? Like where did that come from? Because it's fairly original in a sense. Like and I don't know that I've seen anybody do it the way that you do it. Like where did that where did that come from?
Dude, the whole time I'm sitting here watching his mannerisms and the way he's talking, and all I'm thinking is we got to get him and Andrew in the same room together.
Oh my God! Yes,
my drummer and you would be. You would be dangerous together.
We should figure out a topic and then do like a round table.
Oh my God! We'll just laugh the whole time. It won't be usable. It won't be usable.
No, that'd be good.
Point.
You can have like a segment, and it doesn't have to be very long, so it won't be annoying to your listeners.
His drummer has one leg, and he makes a joke about it.
Oh, it's so
regularly.
Sick.
Oh, on a regular basis, yeah.
He'll sit out at backstage and flip his leg upside down and use the shoe as a table.
Yeah.
To hold his beers.
Bro,
he's that guy.
That's what I mean, and that's the comedy effect. And so to play into it, I really started doing the jokes post-COVID, and my post-COVID, and then weaning back into it, and then my fiance and I had a really gnarly scare. She was basically so she had breast cancer, and I had to take some time off from touring to be with her for the chemo and stuff like that. And then I realized that after that, I just had this really strong urge to distract people, because that's pretty much all I did for 8 months with her, was make her green smoothies and just try to make her laugh. And, we did the whole, like, we shaved our heads and stuff together. And I think, not to make it sad, because, we laughed at it. We shaved our head and we looked in the mirror and we laughed at it. We're like, this is crazy. We look like thumbs. I
know the feeling.
Respectfully, of course. Respectfully. No, come on. No, but you're different now. You're about to look like Daddy Yankee with that damn surgery. You about to look like damn Riff Raff with that shit.
When they shaved my... When they first shaved my head, I was like,
He said, hold on.
What?
Give it back. He said, Control Z. Command Z. Yeah, so I feel like post-COVID, it really made me comfortable just telling jokes. And I also really like to make people laugh. I feel like I've always liked to make my friends laugh. And my mom, despite us all being fucking depressed psychopaths, bipolar, I grew up in a very funny household. It's very loud. It's very funny. Everybody's always talking shit about each other, and I really like that. It's insane, but
I think environments like that are fun too. To be honest,
yeah.
My wife, when my wife first came around me and my friends, like it was a little bit of like, I feel like culture shock for her, because we're just mean to each other.
Yeah, say the craziest shit.
When Chris and I talk, especially people that I've known for a really long time, like we're just straight up mean to each other.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And it's like but that's the thing. It's like using that as leverage in the joke. So I feel like once I started to understand that about comedy, I really started to see that entertainment is all the same. And I realized, like, okay, well, if you're not going to like our songs, I at least want you to have a good time. Because like I said, we started doing a lot more of these opening shows just by what you were saying earlier, the word of mouth. Like some of these big ass bands were like, let's take Broadside out on tour. Never heard of us before. Our numbers weren't that impressive, but they were like, we heard so-and-so said you guys are cool, whatever. Yeah. So then I was like, their fans are not going to fuck with us. So like we did Our Last Night tour, and I was like, I don't know what these motherfuckers like. So we just started making jokes. And like in the middle of the set is when I came up with yo, who in here got both parents? And they raise their hands. I say, fuck you. And then this next song goes, and then the next one I'll be like, hey, sorry about saying fuck you. I'm working through some stuff. I'm just working through some stuff right now, and I got a call, and then the guys will kind of like pick it up, and I'm like, all right, anyways, this next song is, so it's like kind of like having this inner thought, but being in the show. And I think it takes away from the like, it's kind of like a trick, right? Like I'm singing these songs, I'm talking about like fucking in some of the songs, I'm talking about like emotional depth and value, whatever we sing about. And then in between, I'm like, yo, who had a good day today? Who had a bad day today? And people go, me, and I'll be like, sorry about that. And they just keep it rolling, It's just like a moment of like distraction. Yeah. And I like that. It takes the tension off too, right?
You know what? I think that, there's been there's like the Electric Callboys and like Bill Murray, who like take a like musically, at least Bill Murray musically, right, and lyrically is very serious. Like you can tell that
Right.
Johnny cares about what he's doing and writing and stuff, but the way they present it is in the least serious way possible. And I do think that there's a thing right now where people are looking for serious content in the music and maybe the substance of the lyrics and the story behind the lyrics, but they are appreciating it being delivered in a more lighthearted, less serious manner. So I think that you actually tapped into something maybe without even realizing it, where I think that it's something that we actually need right now, is like something that is, when you are in the mood to dig deeper into it, you can find that there is like real substance to chew on there. But if you just feel like consuming it for enjoyment, it is delivered in a much more palatable, fun way, for sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the distraction thing though too, because like a lot of times people, life sucks for a lot of people. It's just reality. It's not easy to navigate and whatever. So you're going to a show for a good time and to escape that. So like even if I don't like your band, but you make me laugh, now maybe I should listen to your band.
Yeah.
So it gives them that escape.
Yep, 100%.
That they might be looking for, even if they have never heard of you or don't even like it.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like everything in this fucking world is expensive. If they're paying to come, you might as well entertain them. I mean, I'm there. I get 30, 45 minutes sometimes to do my job. But ultimately, that's the fun part of the job. Everything else about the job sucks. The touring, the waiting, the whatever. But the playing is fucking awesome. And making people happy is awesome too.
You just said something that I think a lot of people forget about too when they're in a band, because for whatever reason, in our like more underground genres, the pop punks, the hardcores, the metalcores, metal, it's like this is a thing that we're like slowly getting past, but like there's a stigma of like, you can't do it for money. It's got to be very serious. You can't have fun with this. And it's like, well, you are an entertainer also. Like you are there.
Right.
People are paying to hear your songs, but they also want to be entertained. Like figure out how to make it fun for them. Either it's telling jokes and distracting them, or doing some big crazy production. Like you are an entertainer. That is part of your job. You are a musician, but you are also an entertainer. And for some reason, I feel like that gets lost by some band guys, because our genres, I guess, we feel like they're like morally supposed to be superior to like,
and
these right.
It's
and we're supposed to be the like antithesis of these like big mainstream genres. But it's like, guess what? I hate to break it to you. People are paying to come see you. You're still an entertainer, so don't forget that.
One thing that it bums me out, and it's a weird thing for me, because I'm actively still trying to make it happen to where I see a return, some sort of financial return, where I go, oh, this is like my job. But you know what's fucking crazy? This is my job. This is all I do.
Yep.
This is all I've been doing for 5 years. I've just been living paycheck to paycheck as a touring musician, right? That's where I am currently. I'm not saying all musicians are that, but I do understand it's like, I don't give a fuck if you are making money or you aren't making money. Just because you tricked people into liking your whatever because of this, at the core of it, it's ego. And I think that people want you to know how cool and serious and brooding. And it's like, bro, like, I feel you, you know what I mean? Like as a fucking chain whip of poverty and growing up in the worst situations, I feel you. I hate myself. I hate this, but I'm actively creating a new man. I'm actively becoming my father. I'm actively becoming all the things that you're supposed to feel cool and that you connect with the music in the beginning. You know what I mean? When I saw Chester get the flame tattoos on his wrist, I was like, this is what a cool, serious band does. Right?
I wanted those flames too.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, I still have issues. I still have bouts of self-doubt and self-hatred, and I've had very close incidents of just gnarly conversations with myself, whether it be physical or mental. We're all going through this, but the reality is like, I'm a human just like you. And just because I have a microphone, I'd rather break the barrier between us while still upholding it by being like, yes, I'm entertaining you. Sure. But ultimately it's like, at the end of this, what's important to you? that people took your band seriously, that you had really good lighting, that you had really good sound. That's fine if you want to be a soundtrack to somebody's life. But I don't. Right. We're not a successful band. I see the faces that like our band. I shake the hands of people that like our band. I tour to 300 level rooms to whatever we like, some of these bigger bands that have taken us out, right? To like 1,000 plus. And I've had the opportunity to see the people that actually like us still. And in my brain, I just go, it doesn't fucking matter. You're not cool. Brother, you shit in a stall. You chew gum and it runs out of flavor. Right. You get the munchies too. You get depressed. Your uncle might be fucking annoying you. Even if you're the coolest motherfucker, I know you're still a human. And it's important to remember that there's good in being a human being.
Yes.
That's the best part.
100%.
You know?
We need more of that, though. We need more people to stay grounded and remember that stuff.
Yeah. The world is desperate for more of that, for sure.
We're not going to politics, though.
No. I wasn't going there. I'm just saying in general. Totally. I just think that there's just, and not even around politics. Politics may have fueled us getting to this point, but just in general, like I just feel like we are desperate for people to be more grounded and level-headed.
Well, it's because everybody thinks they're a fucking superhero. Everybody's a Marvel character, and I'm not even just talking like some boomer shit like TikTok. I'm just straight up saying the way that people are wired is they go, if I'm not doing it the best, I might as well not fucking do it. And that is... Yeah. It's tragic, it's sad, and it is the reality of stuff that I deal with, because I'm not fucking on my personal, you know what I mean, with this TikTok wave and shit like that. I'm like, man, I'm fucking up each day by not just being comfortable on the internet. Like, look, I'm silly on the internet. For some reason, I can only be silly in person because I feel like it won't translate. But everybody around me and my team is like, show your personality online and it's going to do well. And I'm like, how the fuck? Now we're talking about marketing my jokes. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
you and Andrew, my drummer, are the same person, because we've had the same conversation of like, he is the same way. You put him in a room with people, he will fucking have people dying laughing,
crying.
But we've had multiple conversations of like, we really should get you being you online, because you would go viral, because you're like, your personality is infectious, and he's just not comfortable. And which is fair, I get it.
It's tough.
It's a weird dynamic to put yourself on camera. And
can we do a round table with Ollie, Andrew, and Adam?
Oh my God. Adam is the drummer of my other band, who drum techs for the drummer, the Ghost Inside. And those two together, chaos. The three of you together, I'm scared of what would happen. But yes, let's do it.
We have to do that. Yeah. We got to just find a topic, but we have to figure that out. Do you think that making jokes up there and things like that, does it help cover up any sort of uncomfortable feelings or nervousness?
Yeah, I find that if you walk in the room and you kind of take that like 8 Mile approach, right? Like, yeah, my boy Cheddar Bob did shoot himself with a gun, if you call it out, you can't talk about it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I go up there and I go, I know you see my little ass up here going crazy, and then I'll follow it up with, in this economy, I know you didn't pay to not shake ass. How you going to pay to stand still in a room? That's weird. And then, I kind of create this like, I'm clearly insecure, but I'm making it funny to make you go, so I can see the boyfriends go,
right,
because it works.
Already got me there, right?
Because it works. Yeah. It's not. You don't like it and you don't dislike it. You're actively taking it in, and the problem is you need to make people feel comfortable. Because when you see this, this is an off-putting message. Would you want to talk to your parent if they were standing like this? Would you want to talk to? Would you want to get hired at a job if they're just like? No, you'd want to be open and receptive. So in my brain, if I can immediately communicate to them like, I am nothing, I'm flesh and bone, I will die one day, and guess what? Only some of you are coming to my funeral, so fuck you. Let's keep it rocking. I try to remember that, but really it does come from an insecure, unstable place of worrying that people off jump are going to be like, this guy's fucking lame. Whatever. He's a nobody. That's why his band didn't blow up. All the shit that creeps up when you're off tour for more than 2 weeks and you start to think, oh, I'm human again.
That dude, we've been off since December.
Oh,
and we don't go back out till June. I'm struggling on that same front.
It might be a different world when you go out.
I know, dude. I know. I don't even want to think about it. Anyway, being so open about like your upbringing and your family life
Yeah.
and stuff, and like not really having a relationship with your dad, do you find fans kind of connecting with the band and you over that? Is that something that they like fans come and talk to you about on a pretty regular basis?
Yeah, I'd say the one returning theme, I guess, in all of our music is perseverance. The one thing I like to promote is to persevere.
Yeah.
Whether it's just the general idea of pulling yourself out of bed, or taking that shower if you need to, type of thing.
Sure.
And
It's a small win sometimes.
yeah. And so they connect with that because everybody wants in this life, everybody wants to feel validated, vindicated, and loved. And I feel like there's always one silent partner, and it's often marketed as like the husband or the work husband, or like those kinds of characters in society that people are a little bit weird about. But the reality is those people are probably just listening to that person. Those people are probably just hearing that person and listening to them and making that person feel heard, seen, validated. And so I think by talking about perseverance, my struggle, whether it's in my books or it's the song, I try not to go too life personal in the music anymore. I'm just trying to make good music, Jimmy Eat World style, sneak a couple of emotional lines in there. But these days, I think it's really important to kind of drop that curtain and go like, that we're not born with a manual type shit. And I stumbled forward blindly until I got here, and I'm 36 and I'm still making music, and I'm still writing songs that impress labels to sign us. So this is a good thing for me, and we're gonna keep pushing, and I want them, whoever's consuming it, to be on that journey with me, because I'm not above it. I'm certainly not beneath it, and I think it's important to just straight up communicate with somebody. I've done it to Josh before, where a line will pop out that they'll say, and I think it's important to stop your friends or whoever you're talking to and say like, hey, do you want to talk about that? Or what you said really resonated with me because of blank. You know what I mean? Right. So though it's all jokes and entertainment and humor, the most important thing you could do for somebody is to look at them in the eyes and go, I would like to hear what you have to say. And if somebody goes, I don't have time for that. Well, the fact that we can connect over perseverance, love, the will to be better, I think that's a great fucking message. So even if the band were to end tomorrow, I know that I have put music into the world that maybe 100 years from now, some fucking dorky emo alien will find it and be like, this guy really tried to overcome that little pink human flesh he had. And so, that's very important to me. And we've been blessed because of the level we're at, still able to talk to fans and hang outside of the venues and stuff afterwards and hear these kinds of conversations, because we've been touring 10 plus years. If they were 15 when they found us, they're 25. If they were 25 when they found us, they're 35. I'm meeting some parents. I'm meeting some children. I'm meeting some people that are just straight up like, yo, it gets me a little emotional, but like people are like, yo, I listened to this, and though I'm still fucking miserable and depressed as an adult parent, and I thought it would change, it's really cool that we can still have this rapport, you and me. And I think to myself, if I'm nothing but an opportunity for a conversation, that's good for me.
You snuck something in there that I want to touch on, though. That what made you said book? Mm-hmm. So what made you want to write and publish that? You have 2 out, right? Yeah,
I have 2 real ones out. Yeah. Everything before that was like DIY shit. So when I moved,
Oh, go ahead. I was just curious. What made you? What inspired that? And then also tell these people where they can find that shit too.
Okay, that's probably a really good idea. Another reason I should be good at the internet, actually. So when I moved to LA, it was all ego and everybody was crazy, and I also found pot at the same time. So instead of like going out and trying to be in places that were important for musicians, I was just like getting high and going to old bookstores. And I started to find really old poets. And I always thought poetry was the lamest shit. It was like red roses, stems type shit. But then I really started to read into like the beat poets and all these motherfuckers that were like, I ran away from my home, I'm dying of a sickness, I'm a closeted homosexual, the world truly doesn't understand me. And I really started to read these writers as people who were just trying to figure out their life but couldn't commit to a book, or they were traveling vagabonds. And then they just started writing poems not about love, but poems about things like, when I get yelled at, my dick gets hard. What does that mean? And I was like, it's kind of interesting. Like, makes me kind of not look at it, but like, what is a lake? But more like, hey, what's the value of a man with no father? Like, there's poems out there about this shit. And I was like, it's pretty cool. So I started to get into reading human levels of poetry, and it really got me thinking. I like rap music, and I like short bursts, and I like getting a little high and having conversations about deep stuff in life. So I figured poetry would be the one. Never had any training, never went to college or, proper, like, the grammatical ways of life, but I got tons of books on how to do this stuff, and I taught myself how to structure it out. And since then I've been writing poems, and I'm actually moving into short stories now, away from poems, so I could be taken seriously as a real writer. But this is my last book. It's called Ankle Biter. And that's me as a child, and that is Lexapro on my eyes. And basically, this is an entire book about my childhood in the trailer park for the 2 years. It starts out with me moving to Vegas and, having to rob from Goodwills and shit at night with my mom and my daddy's work truck. And then at the end, Mike passes away, and then I move to Virginia and become a normal human, addicted, masturbating teenage boy. And so I just started thinking, like, it's really awesome to be able to go on tour, meet fans, and people go, I like your art. And then me have this other wave of like, well, maybe if you like the lyrics, you might like this too. And I think I'm starting to create a small little bubble of people who are into that. If I could market it better, it'd probably be a lot bigger. Yeah, people are really stoked about just having the opportunity to just put it all out there. Because again, it's like I'm currently in a process of trying to destroy who I have thought that I am my entire life, because it hasn't been working for me. So just rebuilding off of the things that I feel have structure in the world. And so something will last. Feels like something will last, less fickle, So I don't just think and dream about the world, but if I can physically create and put things into the world and physically have conversations, it's kind of where I'm trying to land.
Did it feel weird to write without like having the music to hide behind, essentially? Like, because it's at that point it's just you, butt naked in front of the world, like there's no cover, there's no curtain, there's no music to sing to or write to. Was that weird, or did it help you kind of understand yourself better?
So it certainly helped to understand myself better, because I tell this to anybody, especially anybody that deals with like severe I won't say bipolar, but like you deal with the other voice, I'll call it. The like, you're not good enough, why even try? If it's not going to be perfect, don't try, that sort of voice. And so I think when you put it out on, I tell this to everybody, I think that people should journal. If you think like that and you have these overwhelming thoughts, you should journal. And when you journal, a lot of people make this mistake where they're like, it needs to be spelled perfectly, it needs to look good, it needs to make sense. When I wake up in the morning, I just have journals all around my desk that are just full of just shit. And it's not spelled right. And it could just be like, yo, I woke up, I fucking had, I don't know, my dick felt bigger or something, like, and it'll just be like morning thoughts. And what journaling does is it gets all the shit that's in your head that's not real thought. It's just, you have a head with a brain, and humans' biggest problem in this world is we overthink, hence why we created weapons. It's because we were like, wait, we could kill much better with weapons, right? So that's where it all started. But now we have this problem where we try to internalize and make sense of all the inside thoughts, and a lot of that is just bullshit. It means nothing. It's just your brain thinking while you're sleeping. So I recommend writing all that shit down, and then what that offers is your headspace to give clarity, and then the real things can come in. So once I get out, yeah, man, I'm really scared about the music video. Hopefully people like me. My forehead wrinkles are getting bigger, and it's spelled wrong and written upside down. It doesn't matter. I close that and it's for me. It's not to impress anybody. So then what allows the space in is real thoughts and real broken down ideas that I can navigate, look at with an open mind, and not just be like, what if this cool band sees that you're talking about your chronic masturbation at 12 years old and thinks, this guy's a fucking loser and a creep. It allows me not to go that way, because I've already got all of those voices out. And ultimately, like I said, I can't die without something in this world, and it ain't going to be a big family tree, and it's not going to be wealth. Maybe I'll get lucky, but I got to leave something behind. And again, if this is the type of shit that if I would have read when I was younger, from like, I don't know, if I went to go see one of my favorite bands, I'd be like, pretty cool that there's artists in art. I hate when there's no artists in art anymore. And it's okay, not everybody's the art guy in the band, but it's a real bummer when it's just a bunch of fucking jocks like staring at a wall, you know.
You've said a couple times now, like essentially, you know, your music and stuff like living on longer than you, or like, and now in this book even, but isn't it fucking, like, I think that's one of the coolest things about art is like, after you're gone, people are still going to be able to appreciate what you gave to the world. Like that music, these books, these words that you've put on paper, like they're going to be around here much longer than any of us. I think that's fucking cool. You've also said a couple times you've apologized for feeling like you're oversharing, which I don't feel like you're oversharing.
Okay.
In fact, I think that's like the whole point of this podcast is that we're trying to get into like these deeper conversations.
Oh, okay, good.
But when you were writing the book, did you ever feel like, did you have like a oh shit overshare moment where you wrote something and you were like, oh, that's too much, I have to delete that immediately?
Dude, so this is actually the first time that I've experienced it. So my last book was just like poems about whatever. This is the first time I've kind of tried to create an angular. So yes, it's poems, but there is a beginning, middle, and end. So I've kind of written it and structured it like a short story anyways. Like it starts with me getting to Vegas, ends with me leaving Vegas. So everything in between 2-year period. There's some good poems, like some funny stuff, like holy shit, first pair of naked titty I saw versus like, oh shit, like I tried to hang myself when I was 10 on a swing set, you know, whatever. So it's like, it goes from all that, and I really just want it to be raw, straightforward delivery, but holy fuck, this is the best thing about depression and PTSD. Your brain will tell you what happened, and it is not what the fuck happened.
Right.
So the big problem with me is I only have one parent, okay? And she's going through a lot of shit 24/7. It's not like I could call up and be like, hey mom, my memory goes blank. Did this happen? Mm-hmm. Because I might not get the real answer out of her. That's just how PTSD works. I've accepted that. Out of nowhere, by the hands of the universe, my mother hands me a box. Okay? It was a box. I'd go get it, but it'd be weird if I got off the camera, right? But anyway, so she gives me a box, and I open it. And so my stepfather, she met a man. My mother and I were homeless. We were in California at the time at a what's it called? Laundromat, right? And just washing our clothes and watching the TV. And she picks up the paper, and because of that, at the time, it would cover these stories from all over the West Coast. And there was a man named Mike getting a heart transplant. Her brother was 18 years old. He was in Virginia, which is what brought me back to the East Coast. Now it's where I'm at, Richmond. But her family was in Richmond. He was in the army. He took her away to California. They were going to be happily ever after, right? They fell apart. We ended up being homeless. My mom reads this thing where she's like, man gets heart transplant. And it wasn't a new surgery, but it was a newer thing to read about these people. Her brother just passed away because he didn't get approved for a heart transplant. He died when he was 18 years old in his sleep. So this story stuck out to my mom. She wrote him a letter. She said, hey, Mike, glad to saw your photo in the paper. My son and I are homeless, and we just want to say, like, here's my brother. She told about a brother. He wrote her back immediately and was like, hey, Kim, I don't have any money, but he sent $20, and at the time we were able to get a bus ticket, and we got a bus ticket from California to Las Vegas, and we stayed at a hotel until he got out. And then she met this man, Mike, and he got out of the hotel, and from then I had a stepdad. I had a stepdad for about 3 years after that point. Ultimately, 1999, he passes away. The heart that was put inside of his body failed. And that's when the PTSD steps in. I don't remember anything beyond that. And so a year ago, that was when I was about 11. Well, last year, 35, as I was writing this book, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, do I call my aunt? Like, everybody's got all these mental problems. Do I go to Vegas? I was like going to go to Vegas for like 2 weeks and just be near the trailer park and just kind of consume it. My mom gave me this box, and it was all the letters that her and Mike had sent to each other the whole time. And it just really gave me a grasp on what two 23, 24-year-old people were doing, writing to each other. Like, oh, I hope, blah, blah, blah. And then the last letter, because I never knew if like this man was just a man in my life or if he was like my father. He said, tell Ollie I'm so sorry that I yelled the other night, and I love him. And I'm so proud of him. And it was just like like to see his handwriting say that about me, a stranger. He didn't know. I was just a fucking little child. It's just like those moments in life made me realize that like it's not about this as much as it's about like just a hand. And that man gave us a hand, and my mom gave me those box of letters, and it really helped me. So I was able to go back in and re-navigate some of these because I was painting him as a very kind of dark and like absent person, because he passed away at 28 years old. You know, I'm much older now than he ever was as a man on this life. And he was acting like my father, you know, at that point. So pretty fucking nuts. And that came with that box. So yeah, my mom gave me a bunch of old box of letters and just kind of really helped me structure out what the dialogue was like at that time. A couple of them were for when we were living in the trailer park. And, you know, so yeah, I deleted the entire book that day because I had painted him up to be this like, this father of like distant. Like he didn't have love for anything because he was just a child. And I also made the relationship between my mother and father seem more abusive than it was. There was certainly abuse, but it, you know what I mean? So I redacted a bunch of that because it made me severely uncomfortable because it spiritually connected me to him at fucking 20 years later, where I was like, I can't make this man look a certain way.
So the way you remembered it isn't necessarily the way that it may have happened.
And even if it was, it wasn't. That's how I perceived it. And like now I look at it, I'm able to look at it and see that he was dying. And I can't imagine telling someone, hey, I am dying.
Did he know? Did he know he was dying?
Yeah, because he was in and out of the hospital. And I think he definitely knew. But
man,
just one...
That's such a fear of
mine. One Sunday night, man, he fell to his knees. We stole some cable from the neighbors. We were watching wrestling. And he just fell to his knees and he's like... And he didn't talk to me. And
you were there?
Yeah, it was just me and him. And then next thing I know, and this is where the PTSD comes in, 4 white suits, they come in, they scoop him. My mom, they go to the hospital. Next day, he's gone. You know, so it's those moments in life. It's like, oh, that is a sad and tragic story. But bigger than that, it's really important to, I think I didn't know this, but it's really important to uphold the legacy of people. And he was someone's son.
Death has been the scary thing for me for a long time because it's so strange to me how, like, everything about you, your personality, your style, your cologne, your smell, your all gone. Just like that shit is gone, and all you have left is memories. It's so crazy to me.
One of my favorite poems, and it was like the hardest to write, was the day that my mom came back from the hospital. It was like pretty gnarly. But I remember she laid I have 2 poems about it, but she laid on the couch in the kitchen floor, just like inhaling his plastic bag from the hospital of like his last worn items. And she inhaled that bag for like 6 months. It became her drug. And then eventually the scent went away and she became human again. Yeah. But it was like, it is crazy to think like, yeah, it's gone. And people are just like
that.
Like, oh my God, like, you know, and this was before tech. It's a shame because he died in 99. It's like, imagine if I could have had a single video of him. I have 4 photos of him. I have no photos of me from 2 and before. My life starts in the trailer park with that man, you know?
Right.
And it's just crazy. It is crazy. But yeah.
That is wild.
It's wild how, so yeah, that, to round that out, yeah, there was certainly a level of like, mostly I kept thinking about my aunt. And I was like, I wouldn't want her to see that I make her so proud because I became an artist and she taught me art early on. And I would hate for her to go, wow, that little boy who I loved, like really hated my brother. And it made me sad to think about that. So yeah, I had to edit it for that. And then, yeah, I really navigated the whole way that I even write and think and talk about people, because you're right, like it could go away, and if I were to die tomorrow and people were to try to read my stuff and be like, what is this about, it just makes you think like, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but it can happen is my point. And I think it's important for people to get their story out there, because it's not your story, a story is for people. You know, the Bible is a story, okay? Aesop's fables, they're fucking stories. They're just referencing a place and time. And I feel like it's important for people to communicate these. Just because you've heard the tale over and over again of the sad boy or the sad guy or girl or sad person in a band that had hard times, and they either turn out to be good and they overcome it and make a lot of money, or they sit and they wallop, or they write, or they don't do anything and they just, they become a laborman and then work their back until their fucking hands fall off. But the reality is all of those people have a story, and maybe 1 or 2 or 3 sentences or something they learned in life can really change the way that you think about the world. I think you just got to be really open, get above your ego to receive that kind of information, because even the fakest person has depth to them, I think.
Touring full time for as long as you have, right? Everybody has an expiration date on how long they can or are willing or wanting to be on tour. Have you thought about what's next after that? Because I'll be honest, when I was touring full time, I never really thought about it. And when it came abruptly, and it was fucking scary, man. It took time to figure it out. So have you thought about what comes after?
I certainly have, especially lately. Just the state of the world. I'm like, oh my God, like our band isn't, like, we asked the question, is our band big enough to survive COVID? And it was fine, and it was. And now we're asking ourselves, is our band big enough to survive TikTok? Like, is our band big enough to, because for some reason, despite me giving it 100% and the band giving it 100% and whatever, through member changes, throughout time, history, whatever happens in the world, the cost of going to a fucking show, like all the shit included, like, I fear that I don't know when to get off the train, because to me, anything positive seems so good and addicting. And in my brain, I'm like, hey man, yeah, some people it happens overnight. And I've watched so many of my closest friends go off and be really successful, or be like, I got to give this shit up. I've watched I've been to most of my friends' weddings now. Like, I'm not married. I don't have children. Like, I don't have shit. You know what I mean? I mean, I have stuff. I don't want to sound rude, but the thing, right?
No, I get what
the
you're
thing,
saying.
The timeline stuff.
The traditional American dream.
Like, I'm still in I'm in an apartment, and I like the life that I have and all this stuff, but I can't help but think of, am I just celebrating small wins and I'm looking at the passenger and not out the window on the train? I feel like I don't have any skills because I accidentally got into this. People were like, I like your singing and I think you're funny. We'll keep giving you just enough money to make you feel good. And I go, fuck yeah. It's not about money, you know what I mean? But if we're just going to be honest here, like, I do want to pay my rent and not be in credit card debt, you know what I mean? Type shit.
Right, of course.
So yeah, that's why I kind of thought about with the writing and stuff. I was like, maybe that could be something post. But honestly, man, I'm so fucking scared about post band because I don't feel like I have anything. I don't feel like I even know who the fuck I am. I'm the singer of a band. People know me because I've toured and I've played their cities. And my fiance says, you're more than the band. It's not just, like blah, blah, blah. And though she's right, that's who I am.
I totally get that.
And it's terrifying. It's terrifying because I'm like, when are people gonna start liking me enough to be their favorite band? And so those are the inner ego conversations I have with myself, but it is fucking terrifying because I don't want people to look at me and go, yeah, that's why you don't fucking try. Look at him. 11 years of trying, 11 years of the opener. And that's ego. I should be grateful to even be in the fucking room. And most days I am, but sometimes, yeah, that fear does strike me of like, yeah, I will be a doorstep.
We all suffer from that. I think we all suffer from that, right? Because you do have this goal and you do have this goal post that you're trying to achieve and you're trying to reach. Yeah. And it seems like no matter how far you get, for some reason that goalpost continues to go further and further. And, even as close as you feel like you might be to that goal, once you hit that goal, fuck, the goalpost moved again. So it's like you can never catch up to it. And I think we all suffer from that. I do for sure.
Yeah.
It's like always, when I first got into management, I wanted to have just one small band that would trust me and that would allow me to show that I could do it. Like I spent so many years out there developing these these quote unquote skills, right? I didn't go to, I dropped out of high school. I went on tour, you know, like, and then you get the one band and you finally start getting some attention. And well, now it's like, all right, cool. Well, then other bands come and then the goalpost moves and it's like, all right, cool. Well, now if I can just get this handful of bands and we can all be working and everybody's making a little bit of money and we can, you know, pay our bills and sustain, like, cool. Well, now we're here. And well, now you can't do this without starting a company. So now you got to have a company and then the goalpost moves and then you got to, you know, then more. And so it's, I think it's a never ending situation. And that, I guess, leads me to what do you think that at this point in your life, what is your definition of success? Do you know? Because if I'm being honest, I don't think I know. I don't know what mine is. My wife always asks me, like, how come that's nothing's ever enough?
Yeah.
Like, how come you've been a part of this and you've done this and you've gotten this, but it's never enough. Why is it never enough? I don't know.
I think it's probably because we don't know what enough is. You know, like to me, I don't know how to say it's enough, right? Because this whole idea started by watching people on TV and hating myself, right? And then, so the saddest part for me is I say this often, I'm two things. I'm a professional t-shirt salesman and I guess three things. I'm a weekend entertainer. I'm a t-shirt salesman. Shout out Gildan, heavies. And, I
like a Gildan.
Yeah, oh, come on now. Yeah. And I think the third thing is I'm just a fucking dreamer. And I feel like, how do you stop the dream when the dream has been the dream? And how do you know, it's like, what is good enough? Because I've done some amazing things. I've played Japan.
Right.
I've had opportunities to meet people and people like my music. That alone is like the fucking thing.
Right.
I think for me, what is success is I'm able to do some of these goals that I have in my life. Like, I've been in this apartment. I have to move in like a month and a half. Well, I've been in this apartment this year for a total of 2 and like almost 3 months total will be the entire time I've been home, not touring. And it's just like, oh, like that's a part of my life right now. I don't even know what the fuck. I'm still looking where the pots and pans are in this motherfucker. And so it's like, I'm back at the like, let's fucking grind all the time, accept the tours, go at this age. And I'm like so excited, but it is fucking, you feel like a psycho because you're like, oh shit, like pay attention to what people are doing, but don't, what is it? Something of joy. Thief is comparison is the thief of joy. And so people are telling you, navigate the space, learn how to do it, but don't pay so much attention to where you go, but my numbers aren't doing their numbers, so we're shit. So it's like this tricky balance of not wanting to idolize and be somebody else while trying to be yourself by playing by the same rules in hand. Unfortunately, dealing with some other behind the scenes stuff, like, you know, I don't know, say a manager is like fucking friends with goddamn, I don't know, Hoobastank or somebody, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna get my band on this fucking Blink-182 show. I don't know. However it works, you know, however those little things behind the scenes work, it doesn't matter. That's just how it is. Never gonna change, no matter how much you bitch about it. You know what I mean? So the reality is I would like to accomplish some of these things in my life. I would like to buy a little piece of land and have a bunch of old disabled dachshunds on it. Or I would like to, I'm getting married this year. I would like to, you know what I mean? Not put the whole damn thing on a credit card. I'd like to feel like I'm making these decisions with comfort as opposed to still making fucking decisions in my life out of fear and bare minimum. And just because, like, you know, but I'm in it, man. I'm not touring. I mean, we got so much shit happening right now. I feel like we're still writing good music and people are still fucking with us. So I'm in it. I'm just admitting that I'm a sick fuck. I'm a sick fuck that wants to just make it happen. Dude, if I can make enough money to where I'm just doing same exact person I am, I'll buy nothing physical and everything mental. because of that ease of knowing that I'm actually being a good person. I'm providing for my partner. I'm giving my dog the best stuff. I'm not worried that he's going to jump off the couch and break his back and he has to get a $4,000 surgery. I'm not always worrying. And I'm sick of fucking worrying. And for the longest time, I've been saying this. I sell my sadness. I sold it. And that's the deal with the devil. I told people I'm fatherless. I miss my best friends. I tell people that it's okay to hurt yourself if the hurting is on the inside, if you can bring it out. I tell that. But the reality is I'm nothing, you know? I'm nothing but a voice for that. And I'd like to feel like I am the person I am when I sing these songs sometimes.
Sure. You mentioned how much you've been on tour recently. Do you have a hard time readjusting to home life when you get home? Because I struggle hard. Like
tough, man.
I have like a 1 to 2 week period where it takes me a while to readjust. And I could be on tour and fucking homesick as hell,
Right. Yep.
longing to be back home in my regular schedule. And even still, when I come home, I have a really hard time readjusting. Do you battle that too?
Yeah, my entire life when I get home is, I won't go over too much, but it's little lists like this that I could check off to feel human, because when I wake up, I have a place to be. I'm needed on tour. People have a level of respect for me. When I'm home, it's like I can't even get a family dinner popping off. You know, there are people in my own everyday life who are just like existing, and that's the other thing is like, I feel like where I'm at now, people are like starting to hit me with the, how's the band doing? Because they're seeing it do well, but they're like, how do you make money, motherfucker? You know, like I'm starting to see people being like, what the fuck? Like, but anyways, that's its own thing. But yeah, I really struggle with it because you come home and you're a fucking nobody with no purpose, and like I could fucking choke on a peanut and die right now, and the only people that would be fucking impressed right now would be you guys on camera, because it'd be awkward, and then my fiance and my dog, which is beautiful and it is good enough for me. But because I came into this world with nothing, in my fucking sick brain, I think there's this need for people to see that I overcame and became something, and I don't know what the fuck that's about, but I do know that it's there.
I feel that too, to an extent. Like there's a piece of me that obsesses over everything I do, because I was told not by my family. I've been very fortunate that my family has supported everything I've done, but like my friend, like I don't speak to anybody I graduated high school with, because even my closest friends told me I was going to be a failure in all the stuff that I wanted to do. So I'm so scared of failing.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
I talked besides you, Chris, I talked to Shala once on a blue moon, but I speak to this dude, David Siegel, more times than, not a lot, but he messages me, and I speak to him, not to rub it in his face, but I get this
just so he knows he's wrong about you.
He told me specifically one time, you're going to be nothing but a piece of white trash. He told me that.
Dude.
And I remind him of that. Just the other day, he texted me when I was flying home from Turkey. And he's hungry. I'm sitting here thinking about food. I'm hungry, and I'm talking. I wasn't actually in Turkey, which is a food, whatever. He texted me and was just made a comment of that, how cool it was that I was, and I felt this sense of like, I said to him, you are part of the reason that I made something out of my life, because that shit stuck with me, man. You told me I'm going to be nothing but a piece of white trash, and he was, lived in a big house over there off fucking by the JCC, and he was one of the better off Jewish kids that, whatever. Right. But he told me that, and it's fucking dude,
one of my best friends in high school, like literally, I had a very small circle of friends because I went to a school that was very redneck, and I was this kid, so I didn't have a ton of friends. I was the president of the band, as we mentioned earlier. Like, I didn't have a ton of friends, right? A ton of close friends anyway. And I had a circle of like 4 guys that I hung out with all the time, and they all went off to college. I stayed home because I decided I was going to pursue being in a band. And literally the dumbest thing, I got my lip pierced, and one of the guys went, "What are you doing? It's time to grow up. Get rid of all these crazy fucking ideas you have. go to college, get a real job. You're never going to make it. And from that moment on, I was like, fuck you. I haven't spoken to him since. But that was a big fuel for me to push to make this happen. But it weighs on me because I'm like, even though I've achieved a lot with this and I've been able to buy a house, and me and my wife, like, while we don't have a ton of fucking money, like, we're very fortunate that we're not fucking freaking out about how we're going to feed our kids tonight, you know? That is a massive fucking win.
Yeah.
We've headlined festivals in Germany for 25,000 people. And like you brought up on the very first episode, Josh, we have fucking fireworks. My band had fireworks at a show. Like that's
sick.
It's things that I never, when Josh and I were starting a band when I was 11 years old, making horrible noise in my grandparents' basement, I never would have dreamed of that being a reality. You know what I mean? I've achieved crazy things and I'm thankful for that. But still, every day, I'm worried about that guy being right that day he sent me that fucking mean message on AOL Instant Messenger in 2007. You know, like
I feel it.
That I think about that every fucking day. I carry that with me every single day through everything I do all day long.
And I thanked him. I literally thanked him for that message. I'm about to try to pull it up so I can read it to you verbatim what I said. But I thanked the guy for that inspiration because I meant it. You know, like, man, had certain people like you never had made those comments to me, I probably would have still been as inspired. But like, I don't know. Dude, I said, I appreciate it. He said something about how cool it was that whatever. I said, I appreciate it. You fueled my drive, even though we weren't getting along at that time. I appreciate it. You told me I was going to be nothing but a piece of white trash. And at this point in my life, I appreciate that.
Right.
Because you know what? I told you, motherfucker, that I was going to be more than that.
Right.
You know? And I got one other guy that you talked about the lip piercing and things like that. I got this other dude named Anthony. Him and he lived down the street from me. I don't know if you ever met Anthony. You probably didn't. He was older than us. When I was going into 6th grade, I think he was a freshman in high school. And I used to hang out with him every weekend. Like, he would give me his hand-me-down clothes from American Eagle and shit that my dad wouldn't buy me. And you know, we were best friends at that time. You know, I knew him from like 4th grade to when he was in 9th grade. And then I was so excited because he was going to be a senior and I was going to be a freshman. And I was like, oh, fuck, my like older brother, essentially. We're going to get to go to school together and we're going to be able to hang out and blah, blah, blah. But at that point in time is when I found music and when I decided I was going to be in a band. He completely stopped talking to me. He got a driver's license. I don't even think I ever rode in his car one time. But and to this day, he follows me on Instagram and likes some of my shit. And I've messaged him a couple times like, hey, man, let's catch up. Like, it'd be awesome to connect and catch up. Will not respond to me. It's the weirdest fucking thing ever.
Fucking crazy.
It is crazy. Wild. But anyway, back to you. Ollie, what kind of stuff do you do to unwind and be normal? Normal, quote unquote.
I like to take baths. I like taking a long bath. I'm no stranger to a little bath salts, some bubbles. I like the water.
I got to understand the bath thing because anytime I try to take a bath,
you get bored.
The water gets cold.
Okay.
And I got to get the fuck up out of there. What's the recipe?
This is the recipe. You start the water with about 60% hot. That way it's the filler. Then you finish that shit with scalding hot. Your body is going to sweat and you're going to feel like you're in a sauna. But you get yourself a nice little cold drink, a cool bunch of ice. I'm the kind of guy that's like 60% water. Rest of the cup is ice. You know what I mean? I think I'm like, fuck, if I got an ice machine that's automatic, I'm exploiting that motherfucker. He's going in overtime. That motherfucker works for me for free. But yeah, so yeah, to cool me down. But I like to get in there. I like the quietness of it, the serenity of it. Honestly, I'm never alone. I got a crazy damn dog, and then my fiance works from home, and then when it's not that, I'm either sleeping in a van or a hotel with 4 other dudes. So all of my time, I literally spend about 19% of my life alone. And it's like, this is some of that time right now. So I really like to be alone. I do it on tour too. If we have a day off, I'll take a little bath. You know what I mean? So I like taking baths. I like running. I like speed running. See how fast I could go. It makes me feel like well, I don't like to do workout for a long time, so I like to just go. I like sprints and hit and high interval training, stuff like that, just because I can get a lot done in a little bit, keep the physique up, for the ladies and the gentlemen. So I like running, I like taking baths, I love video games. It kind of goes hand in hand with being a stoner, and yeah, I like learning. I've really been into learning about the Egyptians lately. I don't know, I'm just fucking blown away with the idea that these beautiful buildings just host corpses in them, and like child kings, and then they were like, yeah, it took me 45 fucking years to make this necklace, but I didn't get to finish it before you died because you died at 12. So you know what I mean? So I've been really into that, just the exploration of human existence and how we got to where we are. Like, think at one point there were motherfuckers just out in the desert looking at the sun like this. Man, I did a lot today. And now you got motherfuckers doom scrolling for 6 hours, fucking snorting an Adderall, going to the gym, and then writing a whole fucking TED talk. And then they're like, I didn't do anything today. So just the way the human mind has evolved into thinking you need to do everything in one day is awesome. Yeah, and so that's very interesting to me.
You mentioned running. That's been a big thing for me too, that I started over COVID, just because I got depressed, gained a bunch of weight, and I was like, well, I got to start somewhere. So I started running, and that's been a big thing for me, because after our accident, like, luckily from our accident, my injuries were some of the least severe, but they were specifically my feet and my ankles. And the doctors straight up were like, you're probably not going to do anything high impact ever again. And so when I went out for the first run and I came home, I was like, I actually feel
I bet you felt fucking amazing.
Yes. It was like, obviously, that high you run off of after doing a physical activity and exerting yourself, but also just the like, I fucking proved them wrong. And I love that shit. I run all the time. I committed myself to running a 5K, my very first 5K in 3 weeks. And I'm actually pretty stoked. Just it's 5K is not a large number, but just that small accomplishment of like checking off something when the doctors were like, you'll probably never, run again. I'm like, fuck you. Yes, I am.
Bro, how long?
It goes back.
Can I ask you a question? How long was your recovery time before post accident into running? How long of a window?
It was
10 years.
Not 10 years, but so it was probably 4 or 5. So my wife and I got married just under 6 months after the accident. And my goal with my doctors and my physical therapist was, I need to be able to walk down the aisle with my wife. We're not postponing the wedding. I need to be able to walk down the aisle, and I need to be able to have our first dance. So that was my goal. It was like, just have to be able to do that much. And to be honest, accident was in November, wedding was in May. I was just able to do those things. By the end of the day of our wedding, I was fucked. I couldn't stand anymore. To the point of getting to running, it was probably closer to like 4 or 5 years. Because like even by the time we played our first show back in 2019, which would have been, just under 4 years after the accident, even that hour and a half on stage put me out of commission for the next day as well. Like that was already too much for me then. So it probably took me closer to like 5 or 6 years before I healed to the point that I could, run for an extended period of time and have it not wipe me out for, a full 24 hours.
Bro, if I'm asking too much, just tell me shut the fuck up, okay?
No, you're fine.
The accident was in 2018?
2019.
2019.
Yep.
I feel like I remember...
No, wait, hold on, I'm wrong.
No,
2019 is the comeback. It was 2015.
I was supposed to say, wait a minute.
2019 was the first show back.
So that makes sense, because I remember, I think we were on Warped Tour at the time, and it was like the AP Awards, and you guys all came out, and it was like this fucking...
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's standing... We're all fucking, yeah. And it was just this like, one of those moments. I cried because like the room was just like, because I had not heard of the Ghost Side, just the gnarly story. Yeah, and then to just see you guys there and then the reaction, I don't know, it just made me feel like good, because I was like, whoa, look at these alternative community really rising up for these like fucking badass motherfuckers. I just remember that. So I was, that's crazy.
It was like, it was intense.
It was like y'all were back from the dead.
Type
essentially.
shit.
It felt like it. And to be honest,
that's what it was like.
That was also that was emotionally intense for us too, because that was the first time that the 5 of us were in the same place since we all had gotten out of the hospital.
Wow.
Because at that point, all of us lived in different states. None of us lived around each other, and we all got discharged from the hospital in Texas at different times. That was the first time that all 5 of us were able to be together in person. You know, we're like doing these check-ins with each other via text and stuff, but like to see each other and like what our current state was in person, like that alone was intense. Then walking out and receiving that award in front of all of our friends, who were, like you said, most of them are on Warped Tour, which we were also supposed to be on that summer. It was like this, I don't know, it was a lot to take in. It was a very intense moment for sure.
That's crazy.
Definitely
You guys were out there
intense.
looking like the damn Power Rangers. I was like, God.
It was. That's exactly
That's my
what it
favorite
was
comment
like.
I've ever gotten about us ever, and I'm going
That's
to hold on to that
exactly
for the
what it
rest of
was
my
like.
You
life.
should.
All right, listen, we've been going for a
sorry.
while, so
All
let's. Well, I got one more question, and then we're gonna move into the day sheet round. That's the lightning round. What's next for Ollie and for Broadside that you're most excited about? And this is gonna come out after it's all announced, so we could talk about. You know, you just signed a Thriller, new music. What I know I've asked multiple questions in one
No, you're
question,
fine.
but what are you going to do different this cycle than you've ever done in previous ones?
So with this, we're able to, like I said, we're really able to approach this with just a straight up experience mind. So, you know, it's going into our 5th album cycle. I mean, at this point, these are going to be like my 57th through whatever song out into the world. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable, exploring more. We're doing a lot more with production this time around. So there's a lot leaning into production in a good way. There's like this kind of like progressive sort of alternative drive, like alternative radio production with our same kind of like focusing on the catchy chorus. And then the verses were really just kind of really making the verses exciting. Not enough people make the verses exciting. They just kind of don't bore us.
Verses get neglected a lot. And to be fair, everybody stresses a big hooky chorus, and that's obviously important. I think it's way harder to write an engaging verse though, like way harder.
Yeah, I've been writing this thing where I try to treat it like ADHD brain. So every fucking 16 or 15 seconds, something new is happening. Whether it's the music or it's like you switch the melody up, like you teach them the melody and then you fucking switch it up on them, and they're like, "What?" It keeps the brain, because to me, I feel confident with the choruses because we're a very chorus-driven band. So it's like, I know the chorus is going to hit because we don't put a song out unless the chorus is at least attempting to have a sing-along in a live setting. That's another strength we have, is we're writing a lot of these songs for a live setting. And because of, you know, the help from Thriller, even just like helping make sense of our brains, and with Josh, we got new management, we got new everything for this cycle. We're able to have a sense of clarity about it. So we're able to write for a live audience. We're able to write for the people we know that get hype, but while still exploring some of these new elements. My goal is to get Broadside on the alternative radio band. I want to be like that, you know what I mean? I want to be a less cringe fucking Muse, you know, or something like that, you know? We're all adding in elements to the band that I feel like really leveled up. A lot of my favorite bands are like post-punk goth bands and stuff, and we're adding those types of elements in there without it being like cringe or genre bending and being anything unique. So I feel like approaching it with the help and the right mindset is really just projecting the band we want to. We just did a fucking sick ass music video. Like the visuals are sick. We already have new promos, just shit that we sucked at as a band before. It's feeling like this is a good swing for us. It feels like everything's in place and there's a team behind us. It's like, fuck yeah, let's get this shit. We trust you guys. And I feel like we got here on our performance alone, because when I met here, you know, when I met you, Josh, and then when we were able to, you were like, oh, it's pretty sick. Like this band is cool. And we were able to have a discussion from that, as opposed to like, hey, here's our numbers, here's what we're trying to do, here's what I want to be. It was just like, I like your energy, and correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but he was like, I like your energy, but also like, I fuck with your band too. And like, you know, Josh and I have a good rapport, so we're like, cool. And that felt good to be like, I impress somebody just being on stage. Like that's in this scene, you know what I mean? That's like, that wants to help bands fulfill their dreams and their vision.
It actually was before that though. Like I feel like when I wasn't overly knowledgeable about Broadside, you know, when you guys did that tour, but when you guys came to my house,
yeah.
and we just kind of were shooting the shit in the kitchen that day, like that conversation for some reason it just resonated with me. You ever have those, Chris, where you just like meet somebody and have this like real conversation that it's just like, man, this guy's cool. I'm not gonna like go over and above and beyond, but like this dude's cool. Like, and that conversation just kind of sticks with you. That's kind of how it was. And then
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I've had that conversation today.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here thinking about how the fuck I take Broadside on tour so I can hang out with Ollie.
That's what I'm saying. The dude is, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's got that, you know, like, and he's just a real dude. And I feel like I try to be the same way. So it like, for me, I was like, man, I like this guy. I want to hang out with him. And if that means we get to work together, great. If not, like, I just want to be his friend,
right?
You know? And then, you know, one thing led to another, and then here we are. So, you know,
yeah, that's the thing.
But he also, Ollie, and I say this to people too, Ollie has this type of personality that, like, man, you just want to see this dude win. Like, you just want to see, I don't know if it's the underdog story or what it is, but it's like, man, you just want to see him win, and it inspires you to push hard to see him get that win. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
I can very much pick up on that for sure.
That's a real nice thing to say. I really appreciate that.
We've gotten kind of deep on this, huh? This is great. Let's lighten it up a little bit and take him to the day sheet.
Yeah, let's go to the day sheet round
and see where this ends up.
Yeah, so like Josh was saying earlier, this is our day sheet round. It's just a lightning round. So I'm gonna throw a couple questions at you. Just hit me with whatever the first thing that comes to mind you come up with. What's your worst habit on tour?
What's my worst habit on tour? Okay, convincing myself that a third bag of chips is totally acceptable if you're a vegan.
Hey, buddy, it is acceptable. We're on tour and we're just trying to survive, baby. Take what you can get.
I'm like
3 bags of chips, go for it.
If they're different flavors, it's fine. But ultimately, it ends up being all just spicy chips, and then I'm just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? What's the worst that can happen?
If it's 3 different flavors, you're just hitting all the different food groups. That's all it is. You're being healthy.
I'm cultured.
You're being health conscious.
Anthony Bourdain. Like, that's what they call me.
All right. Best tour snack combo.
Best tour snack combo. Okay, let me ask you this question: was it a good show or a bad show?
Ooh, let's go bad show because I feel like it's gonna have a better answer.
A bad show is we're getting slutty with it. We're getting fucking 2 bags of chips. I'm getting sour strips. Okay, I'm getting full fat soda pop.
Let's
Fuck
go.
Pepsi Zero. We're going all in. Okay, we're going ham. Getting
full fat, baby. I'm here
2
for
Dr. Peppers and a shot of Vicodin. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, yeah. So and. Okay, yeah. So if a bad show would just be like comfort food, I'll be like, fuck it, run it up. Let's get two cheeseburgers today, 2 Impossible burgers, whatever. And then a good show would just be like a nice bowl of wait, are we talking snacks?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I was about to go into talk about pho and shit. Okay, so
I love pho.
I'm going tonight. I got a date tonight. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Let's see. So my ideal snack for tour would be I like the skinny pop, you know. I like the stuff
that shit is so good.
Yeah,
I could say eat a whole bag of it.
Sometimes it doesn't have enough flavor. So I eat the whole bag.
I hate the popcorn kernels that get stuck in my fucking teeth.
A lot of people hate the kernel thing. And you know what? It's a shame because popcorn to me is like, it's the snack. I eat it all the time.
Have you found popcorners?
Yeah. They're shaped like a chip. They're not proud of being popcorn.
I fucking love them.
Oh, come on.
The kettle.
That's
the
like
kettle
a
corn
McRib, bro.
popcorns,
It's not a rib.
I will eat that mother. I don't give a shit. I will eat that whole fucking bag.
I will eat the whole fucking
bag.
They are classy, though. Thank you. They are classy, and I totally understand that. Yeah, I like.
Don't give those fucking things any sort of validation.
You, dude. It's popcorn without the kernels in my teeth.
Not. It's whatever. It's not. It's not in any way. Is it popcorn? Mm-mm. We're moving on. You've lost all credibility now.
Yeah, I can't imagine being in a movie theater with a bunch of motherfuckers eating popcorners. I'm gonna say
exactly my point. Josh is a fucking fraud.
Whatever, dude. I don't want kernels in my fucking teeth. I don't want to be digging out.
That's overtime, brother. We're talking about purpose in life. Maybe that's what it is.
Weirdest green room story.
Weirdest green room story. It's usually going to be the green rooms where they're like fucking. So me and Dom, we like to entertain people, especially bands that we just met. So like we'll be like, yo, can you come check out our green room? As opener bands, sometimes you get thrown in the fucking hallway, or you're above the kitchen, or you are fucking cooking the dinner at the venue for some reason.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll set there's this in Cleveland, there's this room above where we play, and this is a room full of chairs. And a lot of times we'll try to get a bunch of random people on tour and sit them up in the chairs, and then have somebody come in and into the room and act like they're giving a sermon, and then we're just waiting there for them, and we're just like. So we do a lot of like practical jokes like that. Weirdest green room stories though, yeah, it's gonna be stuff like that. I've had a few homies. This is behind the scenes, so I won't say any names here, and we've all toured here, so no judgment here. But
Yeah.
I have some homies that'll straight up piss in bottles right before they go on stage, and then just chuck it into the trash, and or they don't chuck it into the trash. You know what I mean? And some people like that. It's not me, by the way. I mean, I did it one time. I did it one or two times with the friend.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes
you freak bitch.
At the soccer
you
field,
freak bitch.
At the soccer field, if I don't feel, because the bathrooms are super far away, I'll piss in a bottle in the back of my wife's car and not
that
even
sounds
care.
like a fucking category on Pornhub, my boy.
It does a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Pissing in the back seat of my wife's car.
Hey, it happens.
That's respect, though. That's respect.
Coffee or tea?
Come on, coffee. But
let's go.
But tea's close. A couple of my homies, now that we're touring more in the Pacific Northwest, we never really made it up there before we played with the home team, and turns out they do fuck with Broadside. And the more I've been going up there, those, them classy hipsters, they'll roll up with a good bag of tea every now and then. I'm like, damn, this shit is fire. Like real tea, like cocoa nibs and peppermint, and you're like, what the?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, this one right here, it takes away all
God.
the pain from your 7th birthday. And you're like, oh.
Fuck, maybe that's the tea I need.
Caffeine.
You had to smoke it though. It's a different type of tea. I don't.
I'm not sure that's tea, bud, but we'll move past that.
No.
What's your weirdest fan interaction?
I don't know.
Look at the grin.
Okay, what's my weirdest fan? Okay, I had my fiance on tour one time, and we had fans that pretended to be media, and they got in contact with somebody at the label and were like, yeah, we're with media, we'd like to interview Broadside. And they were like, okay, they sent them through. And then so we're just chilling. It was like the last day of tour. We're having a good fucking day. Yeah, turn up, Roadie Friday for life. I miss you. We're never going to talk again, but I miss you, the band stuff. This motherfucker, we're doing this interview, and halfway through, it's like 40 minutes long, and me and the other guy, we're looking at each other, we're having fun, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? It's like, what was your favorite, you know what I mean? Like, just shit that was like, okay, this is a little strange. Come to find out, this person has snuck in there where they were doing press with their homie. They were a little bit, como se dice, strange. Let's say it that. Or a little strange, a little comfortable.
Okay.
So afterwards, anyways, my fiance's on tour with us selling merch. At the end of the night, we'll go out to the room, meet and greet everybody. What's up? Turn up. Thank you guys. Buy a t-shirt, buy a t-shirt. Make your dad love you. Selling t-shirts. And then this person comes up to me and they're like, hey, Ollie, I heard that your fiance has a problem with me, and I think it's because she knows that you and I have feelings for one another. And I was like,
ooh,
wait, did you just interview us? What the fuck's going on? And then, so that was just a weird experience because, I'm looking around, people are in line hearing this person say this to me, and it was just this level of like, I don't know what's going on. We all got shit going on. We all be making stuff up. Some people lie about their height on their profiles. Some people go to someone else in the face and say, hey, you have feelings for me and your fiance. So stuff like that, I'm always like trying to navigate it because I'm like, you know what I mean? We all got shit going on. Some people are a little bit, you know what I mean? We are all on the spectrum, okay? We're on opposite ends, or maybe we're in the same exact spot and we're just fighting for that spot. But whatever it was, stuff like that always makes me feel a little strange. Like when people really communicate with you like, hey, let's break the performance and entertainment thing down and go real serious. But I do like those because I like people being human, and I like a freak motherfucker, but because I am one. But my God, I was like, this one's a little bit weird for me, and could ruin my career. So let's just not say stuff like that. Let's just not say stuff like that, because guess what? I don't like you. I hate you, actually. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, so stuff like that. Somebody faking to be part of press and then making me feel weird in front of my partner.
That is
shit
super
like that's
weird.
like, oh, I'm not here for a show anymore. I'm here to be like a weird sort of
I definitely categorize that under a fucking creepy fan interaction. So that's fair. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
If I could have dinner. Is it a talking dinner or is it like an awkward, like, look over my soup, like we can't talk because I'm sucking broth?
Talking.
Oh, okay, talking. All right. So if I'm going to have one conversation with one person, Josh, it would be Josh.
Oh, what a waste,
I know.
dude. What a waste.
Dang.
But I respect it. But it's still a waste,
Michael
but I
Jackson
respect it.
or
Michael
Freddie
Jackson.
Mercury or
Can you
something like-
imagine? Wasting my time, Freddie Mercury. Everybody would just be trying to talk to Freddie Mercury. I'd be like, shut your big tooth ass up, boy. Just
Christ.
kidding.
What would your wrestling theme song be?
Oh, at the fuck. So we're about to go on tour with Silverstein, and we know that their fans are going to be like, this band nary a breakdown. This band's trash. So we have this idea of we have a new walkout. Where it's the Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's fucking awesome.
Yep.
And then,
Legendary.
so it's going to be this epic thing. And then I think we're going to add like a little Corey Feldman soundbite in there. And then it's going to come out and I'm just going to be like, we're a band called Broadside. Shake that ass. And it's going to just jump right into the show. So yeah, it'd probably be like a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, it would have been if he didn't turn into a piece of shit, Ball with the Ball by Kid Rock. But he's
That's
lost
fair.
that privilege. So I need something like that.
I agree.
Like something real fucking intense. Maybe Throw It Up by Lil Jon. I don't know if you ever heard that one. Lil Jon and the Kings of Crunk. He goes,
I'm
"Throw it
unaware of that one.
up, Throw it up. And that's the whole hook. It's kind of like a hardcore chant. And then halfway through, he starts saying cities. Richmond, Neptune. He's like saying all these cities. And I remember listening to that when I was 12, like seeing the power of a chant. Anyways, so yeah. Stone Cold
Sick.
Steve Austin or Throw It Up by Lil Jon, Kings of Crunk.
We're covering all the bases. I love
Yes.
it. All right. You talked about how you guys like to do practical jokes.
Mhm.
What's the worst tour prank you guys have either done or experienced? And you get bonus points if it backfired.
What's the worst prank that we've done or like gotten done to us?
Yep.
This is a great question. I feel like we tricked somebody to put face makeup on one time and it stained their skin for like a week.
Oh, oh no.
And so I think
dude.
They put fucking henna
they put
on
like
there?
corpse paint on it, and then it like the black part stayed.
No.
So they just had this fucking gnarly like. But some people are like, yeah, that guy is fire. Like he's expressing himself. But then the rest of us
Sure.
knew. I was like, I know you got that brooding makeup on your face, but I know deep down you're just a good boy with makeup on, and you feel bad. And so it was sad.
I tried to play a prank on Chris Motionless one time. I remember the venue. I remember exactly where I was. It backfired hard. Chris liked to have his caps popped on his water, so it was easy to get into in case he had to get water done quick. And that was so. I thought it was going to be a great idea. I had 2 bottles with his caps popped. In the front bottle, I super glued the lid on. So I was like, because then I thought it would be a funny prank. He couldn't get the bottle open, right? He grabbed the bottle, ripped it open, drinks it, and the super glue didn't dry. So it was wet super glue on his lips. And he looked at me with this like death stare. And I was like, fuck, I'm going home. Like I'm fired. No doubt in my mind, I am fired. And he came off stage. He was pissed the whole fucking show. He came off stage and I went and found him immediately. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, and he was like, I can't even be mad. Like he was mad, but he understood what I was trying to do. And he couldn't even be mad. But
That's
that entire set.
nuts.
We really have to get him on the show because I would love to hear his side of the story.
Oh yeah, he definitely
Yeah, he's gonna
remembers.
be like, you're ruining a whole
And
life.
this was probably 2012. It was fucking terrible.
Insane. All right. You have a free day, no obligations at all. What are you going to do?
Am I at home or on tour?
Home.
I would say home.
Okay, I got a free day. All right, so I'm gonna wake up beautifully, and I'm going to look at my dog who's already on me. He's like, "What's up, bro?" I'm like, "You're out of your mind." And then I'm gonna get up. I'm going to go for a run, get it out of the way, feel good about myself. No matter what, I can look in the mirror and go, "You look ugly today, but you did go for a run." That's number 1. Number 2, I'm going to take an Adderall. It allows me to skip breakfast, which is good for my body sometimes. And then I'm going to go to a bunch of antique stores. I'm going to look at a bunch of old stuff. Oh, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a little high in the parking lot, and then I'm going to go to these antique stores, and I'm going to hold these items in my hand, and I'm going to go, what person held you years ago? And I'm going to think about that, and then I'm going to go, at one point, this man had this, or this person had this in their house, and they were like, this is mine. And now it's mine. Isn't that funny how things are? So yeah, antique stores, maybe some vintage video game stores. Grab some good coffee. There's a couple things worth spending money on in this life. Coffee's definitely one of them.
Agreed.
And then get some good food. Come back home. Just look out the windows. Just really be present and not go on the computer and not post a TikTok. Oh my God. Not whenever I'm around because of my touring schedule, I feel as if I'm not doing enough, which is fucking psycho.
Yep.
And sometimes it's really good, but sometimes it's bad because, it'll be like the day right before I leave for tour. I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm literally packed. It's fine. But anyway, so yeah, it would just be a real do the things I want to do with intention kind of day. Not like I have 30 minutes, let me do this. But let me take my time. Let me spend some time spending some time. And
you want to overanalyze who held that bowl.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to smell it. Like, could I buff?
Is that patchouli?
Patchouli? What the fuck? Why does it taste like that?
Okay, we got a couple more.
Yeah, hit me.
Favorite city to visit?
I like Manchester in the UK a whole lot. Brighton, also, that's new for me. They got a lot of good food there. I used to love, I like LA now because I feel like we played there enough to where people are kind of backing off, but sometimes it's like, goddamn, you know how it is. The media circus, but sometimes I like going there and just, you realize that places like LA and New York, they just have every single thing. Like, no wonder they're pieces of shit out there, respectfully. Like, they have everything. Like imagine if you were like, damn, I really wish I had a hat where half of the brim was cut off, and a motherfucker will be like, check out my new brand, it's called Half Hat. You know what I mean? Like, it's that's how LA is. Like, I remember going shopping one day and being like, man, I'm feeling really down about being a musician, and my friend took me to a fucking candle store where you burn the candle, and at the end it gives you 3 stones that you're supposed to put on your damn desk and look at and focus. And I was like, that's weird shit. Little did I know it, 2 months later I got a Warped Tour offer. So maybe there was some logic to that, but yeah, they have all those places. So I like to do LA. I like Colorado, and I've been really enjoying the Pacific Northwest because it's still kind of new to me, despite touring as much. Like, I can't believe they have actual fucking 40-foot waterfalls out there and shit, and actual gold and minerals. Well, until someone gets their hands on them. But yeah, they're there right now. And
moving on. Yeah. Moving on. Do you have a dream collab?
Yeah. Daft Punk or
Daft Punk would be fucking cool.
Yeah, I feel like Daft Punk or like a Kings of Leon. No, they're still trying to prove to people that they're cool and fuck people. Yeah, I think like a Pharrell or Tyler the Creator or a Daft Punk. Anybody who sits behind and makes music out of noises, I feel like would probably have a lot of fun with my voice. I feel like that would be because I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing, because I'm not trained. So I feel like I could really adapt to them as well. / I'd love to sit in a room and just kind of, you know what I mean? Skrillex, he's been doing a lot of shit with like a lot of alternative artists doing the like dance music.
I mean,
and then,
he's from the alternative artist world, so that makes sense.
Exactly. And so like he did a song on, I think it was his last album before that with Anthony Green, and just hearing like this fucking choppy, syncopated shit that he was doing alongside someone like an Anthony Green powerhouse voice with his lyrical direction and everything. I was like, now that is genre bending to me. I was like, this is fucking sick. You know what I mean? If you're into that type of shit. But yeah, someone like a Skrillex or something like that, like a DJ.
I think you and Skrillex would be fucking cool.
Yeah, and he's short. We can look each other right in the fucking eyeballs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's a match made in heaven.
I would go, listen, I know you know everyone, but I know you. Does this look familiar? I can't get it. Yeah, buddy. I've been there.
Me too.
Let me ask you a question. How tall are you?
6 foot.
You fucking bitch.
Sorry.
No, that's good. And I'm happy. You know what I mean? Josh?
I think I'm like 5'9", 5'10".
To be fair, I'm the shortest guy in my band, if that makes you feel better.
True. That is true.
What about the drummer?
6'4".
He's like, he's a giant.
Yeah, he's the biggest guy in the band, I think.
It must be nice.
He's huge.
First concert you ever attended?
First concert I ever attended was a band called Agent Orange, I think.
Okay.
It's like a punk band. My uncle took me there. First show that I really remember seeing was it was like the Curiosa tour. It was the Cures, my favorite band, playing, and they chose all the people playing that show. And one of my favorite bands at the time, it was the Cure because they were cool from the 80s, but it's a band called Thursday. And Thursday played that fucking show with The Cure. And another band was opening the little stage in the past. What's it called? In an amphitheater, there's like the grass part, like in the back.
Oh, the lawn.
The lawn. So behind the lawn, they had this mini stage up where like one of the opening bands was. And I saw Muse play on that fucking stage.
What?
When they were trying to break them.
That's crazy.
And it was like, there's like 300 people surrounding this little square stage.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so that was a rad thing. The Cure's another ambient band was called Mogwai. And then there was this like Scottish band called Off Them Are, I think. And it's like also ambient. But yeah, it was the first show that I went to, first concert, and first like, oh, whoa, these are musicians and doing it. You know, it's not like load in and, you know, like we all love the punk, the venue and the club venue. But the first time I heard like thousands of, however many people were there, like consuming music outside, it was like, what the fuck? Like, because usually that's just like, you know, the goddamn your stepdad's band up the streets, like, come on, everybody, got the grill on, listen to bam, you know. But this was like same vibe, but like the fucking Cure outside in the dark, you know. And I was like, I am Robert Smith. Sorry.
This is the last question. If you had a 5-minute conversation with Ollie, who just signed a victory right now, what would the message be?
I would say, you don't know shit. First of all, I would say, you just signed. I would say, what does that mean? What did you just sign? What are they going to do for you now? What does a label do for you? What does a label do for a band? What is your message? And I would say, remember your integrity and remember the fact that the reason you want so much attention is because you're scared that nobody's going to see you before you die, like everyone else in your life. So make the conversation more clear early on. I feel like I spent a lot of time in ego trying to tell people and show people that I was cool like them. And now I'm realizing, after touring with some of my favorite bands and just touring bands that I looked up to, I'm able to look them in the eyes and I'm able to go, oh, you're just a band guy. You're just a band person. Like, we're going to have the same, like, it's there is that level of like, there's some bands out there like, don't fucking look at me, you know, la da da da. And that's fine. But it's important to remember that you don't have to be something to be somebody. You know what I mean? And so I think I would say this isn't, and you know what else I would say? Don't hide the art. I feel like in the beginning I tried to hide the weird ideas to try to make it make sense. And now I feel like I'm making up for that lost time. And I feel like I could have done more if I would have trusted my gut a lot sooner. But I didn't, because I didn't know why the fuck it was working. So I was just like, oh, let's just try to make the thing that works work. Right. And so I don't regret our second record, but there's, to me, when I hear it sonically, I hear the confusion in the album. And that upsets me, because we all dream of having that perfect discography, right? Where people are like, oh, not a single bad one. But I would say, sorry, this is a pretty gnarly, deep question, but I would simply say, don't shy away from the art, and don't be afraid to make people like you. You know, don't be afraid of people liking you, as opposed to trying to compete, because you're not going to be better than, you know, the biggest bands. You're not going to be better because you don't choose that, right? Nobody chooses anything. The people who consume you, they choose you. They put you on the pedestal, and I wish I just would have had that information a lot sooner. I thought it was a formula in the beginning, I think.
Interesting.
Dude.
That's a great answer.
Ollie, thank you so much for giving us so much for your time today and being so like open and being willing to like dive into this stuff with us. I genuinely mean this. This is probably my favorite conversation we've had on this podcast so far. So thank you so much for doing this with us.
Dude, that means so much.
We are going to do this round table between
please.
you,
Oh, yeah.
Andrew, and
I'm gonna
Adam
come
Gray.
prepared.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
I'm gonna come prepared. I'm gonna get taller. Fucking.
You don't have to.
Adam's not that tall.
Adam's
Adam's
short.
not
You don't
that
have to
tall.
get tall.
Oh, all right.
You're good.
All right. Well,
How tall are you?
what'd you say?
How tall are you?
He is. He can't publicly state
Okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. 6 foot is what I heard. So yeah, you're taller than Adam. You're good. You're good.
Oh yeah.
Don't
Sorry,
even
I
worry
don't know
about
what
it.
happened there. What?
Yeah,
His
it's a bad
headphones
connection.
fucked up.
Bad connection. It's all
No,
good.
I'm like on the higher end of 5'7".
You might be taller than Adam, so we'll give you that. You're good.
Sorry, I threw up. I choked a little. What happened? Who said that?
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. Nobody heard it. It's all
No,
good.
no. I
fine,
really
it's
appreciate
fine.
you guys, and you know, I consume a lot of podcasts, and I really like the long format. I like the longer conversations. I find that those ultimately, as you get comfortable, I've had the grace of being comfortable with Josh prior to this, so it wasn't so like, my favorite color is blue. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I will say like, this is cool, and I don't know, it's just so fucking cool to chat to you, and also I like when my friends and people in music and arts are trying to do a thing, because that's my message is do the fucking thing. I don't know how to read books, but I definitely know how to write them motherfuckers. So I say that to anybody, do the thing. There is no amount of people that are ever going to make you feel good about how many people are watching, consuming, or buying your product. But if you did it, god damn boy, at the end of your life, you're going to go, I'm going to take a nap because I tried.
Yep.
So good on y'all for fucking doing a podcast and grinding out and talking to musicians. I think the concept's great, and I'm really grateful to just be on it and yap with y'all. And I appreciate y'all for your time as well. And I would love to do that roundtable if possible.
We're going to.
We're going to. There's no try. We're going to do it.
And with this, I think that part of our goal was to allow people to understand that even though you're an artist, or Chris is an artist, or I'm a part of the industry in my way, like, everybody is still the same human beings as you are. You know, we all eat and shit the same exact way.
Yeah, exactly. No, that.
We just have different
That's
kind
a
of
huge
jobs.
message from me, is that at the core of it, through conversations, and it's getting more important to me as I get older, and obviously the more weed I smoke. But I really feel this sense of like, there is no rule book here, and there is no strategy. And even if you do come from the silver spoon, or fucking a fork or a goddamn knife stabbed into the back of your throat, the reality is we all want to be heard. We want to feel validated. We want to feel appreciated. We want to feel like the goddamn muscle, heart, brains, emotion, fear, and pain that's walking around in this skin is actually worth the goddamn in the end. So if you can just maybe, especially nowadays, just spend a little time on someone else's time, or making someone else's time, i.e. in this podcast, a little bit worth it, and say some real shit, be funny, be yourself, be vulnerable. It really is ultimately for the greater good, because you got a lot of motherfuckers out here painting a false world. A lot of motherfuckers out here printing one of them walls in Universal Studios where it looks like the city goes on and on forever, but it's flat. And if you walk into it, you'll smash your fucking nose. You'll feel vulnerable. You'll feel stupid and embarrassed in front of everybody. But I think it's important to walk this world and just have not a chip on your shoulder, but a damn hunger in your eyes, you know, and just a desire to learn more. Even if you're a piece of shit, learn why you're a piece of shit. Stand on it. And so like I said, I just like talking to people who are human and who've been through some shit, and who, you know, not just with music, like life fucking sucks. And then people are either going to say good things about you when you go, or they're not. And well, I pray that they all say good things about us, and it feels like they might. So I appreciate y'all for not being pieces of shit.
Doing our best, man. Doing our best. Right on,
Yeah.
man.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Hey everyone, Chris here, and I just wanted to take a second to say thanks for watching today's episode. You can check out more episodes of Late for Load-In on the right side of your screen, and find any applicable links to this episode in the description down below. There you'll also find a link to our Patreon, which is the most direct way to support the show, and it's only $1 a month. Please consider giving this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to follow us on all social platforms, at Late for Load-In, at Chris_TGI, at Josh Carell. See you guys next week.